Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and all those in between. Here we are at Edgbaston. It's a very sunny afternoon, and we're looking out across a large green expanse of real estate here at Edgbaston. It's looking beautiful this afternoon. A little bit overcast now. We've got a smattering of spectators in down to our left, which you may not be picking up off the cameras. But we've got, I think we're going to have some school children doing a tunnel for the players to go out in. We've got lots of good sunshine here, and you join us today for Central Sparks versus Sunrisers in the Charlotte Edwards Cup, which is the T20 competition for the 8 regions across England. We're due to start at 2:30. Before play there will be a moment of unity, which is about celebrating diversity, and we probably will hear that through on the PA. I am Claire Jenkins, and I'm a former Somerset and Derbyshire player. I'm joined this morning by Sarah Ginn, who's in charge of all things Junior Warwickshire. I'm sure she'll tell you better as an introduction. We're being broadcast today on Central Sparks YouTube channel. Central Sparks would like you to use the hashtag #SparksWillFly or hashtag #OurSparks, and I'm pretty sure the Sunrisers use Rise Up as a hashtag. So if you want to join in terms of social media on those, I'm looking down at the teams, and the Sunrisers are gathered together because they are going to field this morning after the toss, and Central Sparks are going to bat. This competition, Charlotte Edwards Cup, is in 2 groups. So the other group already have a result because there was an earlier game, and we see that. I'm just going through my notes here. In terms of the game at Beckenham, where you had Mark Church doing the commentary there, South East Stars won by 7 wickets against Western Storm. So that's the first result for today, and that's in Group A of the Charlotte Edwards Cup. So they are in the group with Central Sparks and Sunrisers. So Stars again won by 7 wickets in that game. The other group is Lightning, who are at Loughborough based, and Northern Diamonds, Thunder and Southern Vipers. So the other games today, I'm just going through these. So the other games today are Diamonds versus Vipers up at Chesterley Street, and you've got Jem Green and Robbie James looking up after you up there on the live stream, and Lightning versus Thunder at Grace Road, Leicester, where you've got Mike Perkins and Hannah Thompson doing your calling for you. So I'm looking down below me, there's a line of both teams of players, and we're about to do the moment of unity for all the players. So once the PA starts up, I'm going to go quiet.
We look forward to what constitutes a very exciting Sunday across all formats today. Since we were together the last season, there have been a number of events that have been predicted, both on the cricket world and the world more broadly. We have lost legends of the game and conflicts around the world over continuing global pandemic. The ECT and regional teams have shared a determination to drive cultural change that tackles racism and discrimination at every level of the game. We stand against all forms of discrimination, and there is no place for it in our sport. We will embrace and celebrate differences everywhere, knowing that with diversity we are stronger. Please join us in a moment of reflection as we remember those that we have lost, as well as other events taking place in cricket and around the world.
That was a moment of unity there, with both sets of players and the umpires and officials, where we were, in case a little bit of that was slightly distorted, we're about embracing and celebrating difference.
Thank you for joining us.
So after the moment of unity, we were just being told there by the PA about, call it out, because we want to celebrate difference and embrace those things that are different about each other, and that through diversity we are stronger. So a strong message there from before the game, from the regions and across the ECB and our sport. Okay, so I mentioned that the Charlotte Edwards Cup is split into two groups this time. As I mentioned, Group A, Central Sparks, Stars, Sunrisers and Western Storm. Group B, Lightning, Northern Diamonds, Thunder and Southern Vipers. So on Wednesday, Western Storm beat Sunrisers by 1 wicket, an exciting finish. I was there at Chelmsford actually, maybe more of that later. And Southern Vipers won by 31 runs against Lightning, and Central Sparks here today won by 34 runs against South East Stars, and Thunder beat Diamonds by 56 runs. So that was the round 2. Today is round 3 of the Charlotte Edwards Cup, and we have Sunrisers fielding and Central Sparks batting. I'm going to hand you over now to Sarah Ginn, who I'm sure is going to introduce herself better in terms of what role she plays, because I just think she's in charge of Warwickshire. And she's going to run through the teams with you before the game.
Thanks, Claire. So Central Sparks make one change for day. That's Davina Perrin in for Thea Brooks. So Sparks lineup: Eve Jones, Izzy Wong, Amy Jones, Abby Freeborn, Amy Campbell, Gwen Davis, Davina Perrin, Sarah Glenn, Emily Arlott, Grace Potts and Hannah Baker. And Sunrisers also make one change. Catherine Speed is in for Maddie Villiers. So we go Cordelia Griffith, Grace Scrivens, Naomi Datani, Jo Gardner, Kelly Castle, Mia Rogers, Patrick Goal, Scarlett Hughes, Florence Miller, Catherine Speed and Abditar Masood. So as Claire's mentioned, Sunrisers have won the toss and elected to field, and they're just setting the field now out of first over. We're coming in from the pavilion end first, I believe. The ground is looking absolutely spectacular. All credit to the ground staff here. We have a short boundary to the, well, would have been the offside, but we're starting off with a left-hander here in Eve Jones, so it's on the leg side. We have only got 2 fielders out on the ring, actually protecting that short boundary at long on and mid-wicket, deep mid-wicket. So everyone else in the ring, we've got third man, point, cover, extra cover, mid-off, square leg and a shorter mid-wicket. The umpires just here that they're ready to go.
It's Grace Banbury this end and Sue Redfern the other end.
The first ball comes in and Eve Jones has hit that straight to the cover fielder for no run. It's Joey Gardner opening the bowling here. She's recently changed from pace to spin, and this is the first time I've actually seen her bowl. That's a good start from her with a dot ball.
Of course, Gardner was Warwickshire, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was, and up until recently she's a Loughborough graduate, I believe, as well as at university there with some of the Warwickshire girls, so they'll know these girls very well. There's another dot ball there as she comes in again with this nicely flighted spin to Eve Jones. And that's a single down to long on to get off the mark. So that's 0 for 1 off 3 balls, and we're off the mark, Central Sparks.
Yeah, Cordelia Griffiths there swooping in from outside the circle back into the circle now as they change the field.
And this is Wong facing the other end. She's been sort of promoted to the dizzy heights of opener this year, and seems to play in a very, let's say, aggressive way. And they've changed the field just for her now. They've brought the long off and a deep wicket on the longer boundary. But let's see how she plays this spin now. First up, as Gardner comes in, she hits it straight through, and that is 4. That's a great start from Izzy Wong. First ball is dispatched for 4 through mid-wicket. And yes, that's how she is, and it's been so successful for her so far this season.
It should be entertaining. I mean, it is. It's real bish bash bosh stuff from Izzy Wong. It felt like when I watched some of the Warwickshire warm-ups, it felt like it was a bit of an experiment, but maybe the experiment is working.
Well,
Sarah.
yes, I mean she's opening the batting and the bowling at the moment, but if it gets us off to, well, if it gets the Sparks off to a good start, then that's fantastic. So Jo Gardner coming in over the wicket, and off she goes again. It's not quite made it to the boundary, that one. It's fielded on long on and thrown back in over the stumps just for a single. Yeah, she very nearly, Izzy Wong, got the fastest ever 100, except obviously in true Izzy Wong style tried to finish it off with a 6 to get to that 100 and got caught out, so it'll go down as the fastest ever, I think, 94. As Gardner comes round to Eve Jones, who's just defended that. It's a nice length Gardner's bowling here first up, and Jones is finding it difficult to get it away. It's a dot ball to finish the over.
Yeah, we mentioned Izzy Wong. She got 45 off 28 balls versus Stars last week, so yeah, she's not messing when she does start, but it's going to be entertaining, I think.
Yes, absolutely. And we've got lots of youngsters, as Claire mentioned, in today. I've saw some badges from Bedworth Cricket Club, Warmley. I think I've seen some from Earlswood, and we'll check who else is here today. It's great to see some of the young girls supporting probably their idols, we could say, here, in people like Izzy Wong and Eve Jones and others on the Sunrisers.
Yeah, it's great. And I was at Chelmsford. I'm sure I'll come back to that later, because it was a really exciting finish, and I'm sure that Sunrisers will want to be on the end of any close results today after their experience at Chelmsford. But yeah, there was loads of kids there, and they were signing, the players were signing autographs from Sunrisers and Western Storm on Wednesday, and it's just great to see that kind of player engagement, as we've got Naomi Ditani, who's going to be bowling left arm over the wicket to Izzy Wong here from the City end. Over, Wong takes a big swing and just dabs that down in front of her and doesn't even think about any kind of run there.
I think she's just having a look there, Izzy Wong, just getting her eye in, and again they've got a deep square leg and probably a deep mid-wicket. They've gone without the long on and long off for this over, so it's a slightly different field for the second over of the game here.
Tatani comes in, Wong waggling her bat. And strikes that out, and nearly had a catch there. Cordelia Griffith diving to her left there on that nasty bit of carpet there. It's always difficult to be fielding that close in, but Wong given a chance there, and will they regret that?
Yeah, it's a very difficult chance. Cordelia Griffith is, of course, an excellent fielder, and diving just to her left, it was very low and a tricky opportunity, but yeah, of getting Wongi out early on.
Yeah. Oh, and she's bowled. She's clean bowled, and the bails go flying. It was obviously a perfect ball, and Isabel Wong is just looking back in disbelief as she leaves the crease there, and the Sunrisers 12th and 13th come on with drinks, and that will make Sunrisers very happy to get a breakthrough so early. So we're already 6 for 1, and it's only the second over, Sarah.
Well, yeah, it's entertainment every time, especially with players like Izzy Wong playing here, but that was an excellent delivery. I don't think she really read it very well. It was a tricky length, and it's just taken off, well, as I said, it's taken both bails that have flown across the ground there, and it brings to the crease Amy Jones.
Yes. Of course, the England players most of the England players, other than obviously those that were playing in fair break, etc., but most of the England players are playing in this Charlotte Edwards Cup, so it's great to see them in their regions. and for the spectators to get a chance to see the England players as well.
Yeah, and we're not quite sure why Maddie Villiers isn't playing for the Sunrise today. I suspect it may be some sort of injury, but it's a shame to not see her talent on show here today. But see Sarah Glenn and Amy Jones playing for the Sparks today, who were both in the England setup, and it's great to see them displaying their wares here today.
And at Edgbaston under such lovely conditions, because it just looks like it's perfect out there. It's not too hot, it's warm, it's sunny, the sight lines are good, and there's some debate at the far end about tactics, I think.
Yeah, now Izzy Wong is no longer in bat. I think someone's coming off the mid-wicket boundary. I think that's actually Jo Gardner there, and she's coming in. Well, she's coming in a little bit closer, because I can see that they've got Maqsood on the boundary down here at third man, and square leg, which is a little bit behind square there. Yep. So again, a change of field now. Now Izzy Wong is dismissed.
Probably see that they've got a different tactic for Amy Jones here, I think. Ditani coming in left arm over Amy Jones. And she just prods that forward in front of her and just looks down respectfully at the pitch.
Yes, Amy Jones probably much more of an accumulator of her runs, but she's got a lot of strings to her bow and can play, shots all around the ground. So I guess wherever you put those fielders nowadays, it's still tricky to judge where's best to. But she's a slightly different player than Izzy Wong, who tends to hit those boundaries early on.
Yeah, Ditani in over the wicket. Jones, flicks at that and just goes straight through. Shoots straight through to the wicket-keeper there, and there's no run, so we are 6 for 1 still. And because Amy Jones got 40 off the 28 balls against Stars, so, but as you say, tends to be a bit more of an accumulator in terms of sort of slower start, and then once she gets going, then it's a different story.
It doesn't give many chances, does Amy Jones, but
Ditani into Jones. And Jones strikes that square of the wicket to point, but they don't take a run.
Is that a wicket maiden to start off with there from
wicket
Ditani?
Maiden, yes.
Excellent start from Naomi Ditani there. So yes, vice captain of this Sunrisers side, and sort of leading from the front. Very experienced county cricketer and women's cricketer, and she'll be going back to in the field there. Very chuffed with the fact that she's dismissed Izzy Wong so early on in this game.
Yeah, I must say at Chelmsford, she really was looking the complete all-rounder. I mean, although she got a nice score, but not a big score, but really hitting the ball very crisply. And of course, another left-handed bat, which Central Sparks are well off for in terms of left-handed bats. And we keep looking, don't we, as interested spectators to the England game, wanting a left-handed opener. So we're going to see several today. Ditani, we've got Eve Jones,
Eve Jones is very
Amy
talented.
Campbell,
Yeah.
we've got
Gwen Davis, another left-hander.
Yeah.
So this is Grace Scrivens now coming from the pavilion end. So an early change. She comes into bowl the wicket. Oh, and that's not really much of a shot there from Eve Jones. She's still trying to find her way a little bit in this game, and I think this spin early on is perhaps a little bit more tricky to get your eye. And we did see her warming up for a long time here, so hopefully that sooner or later she'll find the middle of this bat. She's just hit a nice single there through mid wicket to get off strike, and so it's a nice start from Grace Scrivens there.
Easy single, and also this is the beauty of the left and the right-handed batters, because the field have to change each ball for taking those singles. As Amy Jones takes guard from Grace Branbury, and Grace Scrivens moves her field. We've got a deep mid-wicket, squarish, and then a deep long on. The rest of the fielders, of course, during this power play are inside the ring.
Yes, so
Scriven comes in right arm over.
Oh, and that's a great shot from Amy Jones. That's gone for 4, straight through the cover. She just rocked back onto her back foot there, sort of a back foot punch straight through to the boundary. And as Claire said, only 2 fielders allowed outside the ring at this time in the game, so there's plenty of gaps to be had. You could argue, especially in T20, this is the best time to bat. Scrivens won't be that downhearted by that, so she comes again, tosses the ball up, and Amy Jones just managed to get that straight to the cover fielder. I think that's Joey Gardner there doing an elaborate roll in the field when she picked the ball up. Of course, Scriven's top of the MVP ratings for the last round of games, so should be coming to this game on a high. She comes in again. Amy Jones just driving that again to the covers. It just seems that it's playing now between Jones, Gardner at cover, and Scriven's the bowler at the moment.
Yeah, Scrivens, I mean, she was a real star on Wednesday. 56 off 42 and 4 for 33, so quite a game.
Yeah, she'll be hoping for her first wicket in this game. She comes in to Amy Jones, who drives that straight to Tatani there as an extra cover. So apart from the boundary off that over, there's another excellent over from Grace Jones. The score's 11 for 1.
Yeah, Scrivens was another one. The Sunrisers batted first and got a decent total. They got 160 on that game at Chelmsford, and as I say, I mean, the only word I can use is crisp, because it was beautiful hitting, and that was from Scrivens, Datani, and Griffiths. They all hit some beautiful shots and very fast round at Chelmsford. Of course, if you can get a gap, you're rewarded for it. So it was a good total. So to go down to the very last ball, I mean, that was it was just incredible to be there. It just looked unwinnable for Western Storm completely, and just that last ball was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just we were talking about it, weren't we, earlier? So 6 off the last ball, but not a clean hitting 6 to win. It was unfortunately a 2 and then 4 overthrows to win the game for Western Storm.
As Datani comes in to Eve Jones, left-handed, and she just pops that down in front of her, just respectfully, just pushing it forward to mid-on there, and there is no run. We're on 11 for 1 into the 4th over now. You can hear the fielders geeing each other up. Datani into Eve Jones, who hoiks that, and it's a 4, and there was never any doubt about that. There wasn't even any need for the fielder to move at that stage. That was always going into the gap there.
Yeah, and the boundary's in on this one side of the ground here, but the ball has cleared even to the other side of the boundary. We're on a pitch that's quite a way over, but the boundary rope would have, well, it had cleared any boundary, that shot, wouldn't it?
Yeah, huge hoik over there. It's obviously just at the right length for Eve Jones there. And what has Datani got in response to that? Left arm over. That goes through the gap again. Beautiful cover drive there. Just eased that through round the fielder almost, and off for 4. And the score moves to 15 for 1. We get halfway through the 4th over.
So Eve Jones, after being 2 off 7 balls, is now 10 off 9 balls. So after me saying that she might need to play herself in a little bit, she's proved me wrong there and hit a couple of boundaries, 2 in 2 balls.
Datani in. Eve Jones, who swipes that through to point, but there's no run. Straight to the fielder, unfortunately. And the field swoop in and then return to their positions. So the deep fielders are a deep third and a deep backward square. Datani just gets a hair right and comes in left arm over to the left-handed Eve Jones, who defends that down just in front of her, and the fielders just come. Jerry Gardner there doing a bit of tidying up. There is no run, and we're on 19 for 1.
You could probably hear on the effects mic here, Sunrisers very lively in the field, and it's great to hear them. There's a positive enthusiasm coming from the field, and say closing in on every single ball.
Yeah, Datani into Eve Jones, waits patiently and swipes that out to point, but the fielder gets it cleanly and they get through for an easy run there. That's the end of the over, so Eve Jones pinches the strike there at the end of the over. And the score moves on for 20 for 1, and that's the end of the 4th over.
I think honours even really here at the moment, Claire, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
So there's an early wicket gone down, which obviously is a key wicket in Isabel Wog, but Eve Jones with those couple of boundaries in the last over has probably pulled it a little bit back into Sparks' favour. Obviously very early in the game to say so at the moment, but seems to be quite evenly matched.
I think honours even, as you say, so there's 2 more overs of the power play. We'll see whether who's going to win that battle as Scrivens just moves the field here.
Yeah, coming round the wicket to the left-handed Eve Jones here. And in she comes again, lovely flight on that ball. And Eve throw that through, or they get sneak in a quick single. Unfortunately, the fielder just didn't get that cleanly, so they managed to scamper through there for a quick single through to mid-wicket.
I think it bounced awkwardly in front of Naomi Ditani there, and I think she was caught in two minds about which way to go. But she certainly covered it, because I think that could easily have been a four if she hadn't stopped that there.
So Amy Jones now on strike, right-hander. Scrivens coming back over the wicket. A little bit short there, and Amy Jones has played that straight down to long on for an easy single.
Right thump that was.
Yeah. There's a lot more power in the women's game we've seen over the last few years. A lot of these girls now obviously turning professional and getting a lot of time to spend on their craft, and the power is definitely increased. The Scrivens comes into Eve Jones, who just goes on the back foot and knocks that straight back for no run.
It was a point that Hypercourse was making on Twitter, wasn't it, that actually that's one of the biggest things that's improved with the professionalising. It's the hitting, particularly middle order.
So Scrivens round the wicket to Eve Jones, who rocks back and plays that through. Backward point, it's going to run away for four. It's an excellent shot there. Just Eve Jones just casually, all the time in the world there, rocking back and sending it to the boundary for another four. And the score moves on to 26 for 1.
Yes, you mentioned the noise that Sunrise are making. I think they've kind of carried that on from Chelsea, because they're obviously having to keep each other up for that very exciting end, last ball end, so they're kind of still shouting.
Scrivens into Eve Jones, has played that straight down the ground for another single there.
Nearly took Eve Jones's head off there. Or Amy Jones. Getting the Joneses mixed up.
So a little bit of movement in the field again for the right-hand, left-hand combination as Scrivens comes back in to Amy Jones, who plays that nicely straight to the point fielder for no run.
Yeah, 27 for 1, and is that the over already? God, that was a quick one. I suppose that's because there's short run up, and that's the that's 5 overs.
5 overs gone. We're into the last over of the power play now.
There's lots of chatter on the field, and there's 12th is on for Amy Jones. Some sort of message back from Nish Patel, and physio having a bit of an aborted run on, so I don't know what that is.
Let's hope that everybody's okay out there. And let's hope that nobody's picked up any sorts of injuries, especially well, you could probably say Amy Jones with the Commonwealth Games coming to Birmingham very soon.
Yes, Abta Maksud, Birmingham Phoenix, of course, in the 100, so one could argue this is a sort of a bit of a home away from home from Abta.
Yeah, I think I saw something on Twitter about how she was excited to wear the orange hijab again.
Yes, she was getting it out of the wardrobe, that was it.
Yeah, she's took a black one today to go with the Sunrisers kit, but Maksud, a Scottish international, coming in from the City end.
So Eve Jones, who plays a very straight drive past the other end stumps, and they just get through for an easy single there, just easing that forward past the stumps and off for a single. And we're getting some movement in the field here. They've obviously got to handle the left and the right-handed batters, and also probably plans for each player as Maksud tosses a ball from hand to hand, and Amy Jones takes her guard, bats up, and it's a big flighted delivery, and Amy Jones says thanks very much, I'm going to hit that on the full, and it goes through for an easy single. A big hit, but just straight to Joey Gardner there, and it's fielded easily, and they get through for the one.
I think Amy Jones may have been a little bit disappointed that she didn't manage to get that away. I don't think she got entirely everything on that, and it just found the fielder on the boundary.
Yeah, Eve Jones this time, and she hits that straight back past the bowler, and it's going towards the boundary, but there's a fielder there, and she tidies that up right near the rope, and Amy Jones thinks about a second, but they have just the single, and the score moves on to 20 or 30 for 1, and we are halfway through the 6th over, so 3 more balls of the power play left. What can Maksud send down now? And she loops one in, and Amy Jones just hits that straight to the cover fielder Naomi Ditani, and they don't get a run off that one. So 2 more balls of the power play left. Maksud to Amy Jones, right-hander. and that's swiped across, and she's limping a little as they get through for a single. Maybe Amy Jones has got a bit of cramp or something.
Yeah,
she just
I'm not
looked
sure.
like
She doesn't look entirely
there.
comfortable there, and also finding the fielder again isn't the greatest when you pull in a little injury there, because you still have to run for your runs there rather than just getting it over the boundary.
Yeah, Eve Jones, and that's hit back again past the bowler's waving arm to the fielder, who is stationed almost as a backstop there on long off and long on, and they get through for a single.
3 lovely straight drives from Eve Jones in that over.
Yeah, and
it's the end of the power play, and it's time to perhaps look at some of the scores from around the ground. Thunder are currently batting, and they are 49 for none off 7 overs against the Lightning, so a good start there for Thunder. Southern Vipers 44 for 1 off 5.1 overs, so they're a little bit behind this game. Danny Wyatt's on 15 and Maya Bouchier on 4, and Georgia Adams is out there off the bowling of Levick for the Southern Vipers. And then, of course, we had the game that finished earlier today where South East Stars beat Western Storm down at the Kent County Ground.
Thank you for that update. That's really useful just to find out what's going on.
So Scrivens has taken off this end now, and we've got a new bowler in Kelly Castle. Coming round the wicket at the left-handed Eve Jones. And Eve Jones just pushes it on the back foot and punches that through to the fielder for no run.
Yeah, so we're 32 for 1, and we're now beyond the power play, so the fielding restrictions are lifted slightly. We can have a few more fielders outside the ring if they want to.
And well, they've got 4 out already, so they've gone for 4 straight away. Another dot ball there, so this is a good start to this over.
Yeah, we've got a deep mid wicket. We've got a deep long off, deep long on, and deep cover.
So Kelly Castle is a county's Essex, and she's coming in round the wicket again at Eve Jones. That's a little bit too full there, and Eve Jones sends that away to the long on fielder just for 1 run. So it's picked up there by Cordelia Griffith and thrown straight back over the bowler's end for just a single. You can hear all the enthusiastic shouting here for Castle to try and get a breakthrough here when the score is 33 for 1 in the 7th over. It's coming over the wicket at the right-handed Amy Jones, who plays a lovely shot through to the cover boundary fielder, who's thrown that over the top of the keeper's head there. That'd be reminiscent of the other night there. They're going past the keeper for just a single.
Oh my, it was quite they only need 3 off the last ball, and the batter really couldn't get the ball away, and it just didn't look like a 4 at all. And then the overthrow, and it was 6 runs on the last ball.
So Castle in now to Eve Jones, who punches this off the back foot, and there's no run there to Cordelia Griffith. Oh, sorry, no, Naomi Datani that was, wasn't it? Datani's in there. Griffiths is back on the boundary here.
Yeah, Datani got 13 off 6 balls, but it was a really good innings, but she just didn't get settled on Wednesday.
Pumping her arms, Castle on the way through, nice straight arm. Back foot play by Eve Jones for 1 to the cover boundary fielder there, who passes it straight back in to Scarlett Hughes, the Sunrisers keeper. And that's the end of the over, and it's 35 for 1. We've got Eve Jones 22 off 24 and Amy Jones 8 off 13 deliveries.
Yeah, as you say, probably honours even so far, but I was just thinking about the that poor wicketkeeper with the sort of throw over her head with the last ball, but she had a great game on Wednesday. She had 3 stumpings and a catch. She caught Hennessy on Wednesday, so she had a really good game behind the stumps. So
don't think she could have done too much after that last ball that was over her head, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah. But you know, these things happen. A bit of a moment of madness in the field, and that's why you've got to play to every last ball.
There's a new bowler this end. I'm not sure who it is just yet, but they're all doing their hair. It's the thing of women's cricket. Put your hair up after you've taken your cap off before you bowl. Goyle here, yes, coming into bowl. Gaia Goyle.
Excuse if we pronounce this wrong. Gaia Goyle coming in from the city end, pace bowler by the luck of the action, and she bangs that in down the leg side, and umpire Sue Redfern signals a wide ball. That was an easy decision there for her, I think.
I think that's our first wide delivery of the game there, and this shows it again with the professionalism of the women's game and how much they're working on everything. That, you know, we're 5 overs in and there's no extras on the scoreboard.
Yeah. Goal into Eve Jones, who really struggles with that and couldn't get that away. She hit it down in front of her, but really couldn't work that anywhere.
And you see the frustration on her face after she'd hit that ball. She's hit it beautifully down the ground in the last over. It wasn't quite going for the boundaries that she'd have hoped for, but you can hope that one is just round the corner.
Goal, right arm, speedy into Eve Jones, who swings at that and pushes that into the mid-wicket area, and they get through for an easy single. Goal is one of several Middlesex players, so in the squad, because normally Mara Carr not playing today, Kate Kopak, Naomi Ditani, Goal, Griffiths, Patel, so they've got quite a lot of the Middlesex players as the core of this team, along with Essex and a few Berkshire players and the odd Kent player, and a Scotland player of course. So Goal, right arm over, speeding into Amy Jones, who advances and then pushes that out to deep point, and Cordelia Griffith does the fielding, and they get through for a simple single there.
Yeah, Amy Jones seemed to have all the time in the world to play that shot, didn't she? Just rocked back and just casually hit it through the covers there, and for a lovely, very technical single.
Beautiful. Goal in, over, and down the leg side again. We have another wide, as Eve Jones just kind of watches that dismissively disappear behind her to the wicketkeeper Hughes.
She's struggling a little bit with her line here to the left-hander.
Yeah.
So there's been 2 wides now to the left-handed Eve Jones. It does take a while sometimes, doesn't it, for these bowlers to find their line, especially with the right-hand, left-hand combination here.
Yeah, Goal into Eve Jones, who advances slightly and then smacks that up over cover, and they get through for another easy single there.
Griffith's an excellent fielder, as we said earlier. Should be disappointed that catch went down to Isabel Wong in the, I think it was the 2nd over of the game.
It was a tough opportunity, isn't it? And also she's diving over that horrible sort of carpet stuff covering one of the other strips there. And as Amy Jones just takes a bit of time out, just a bit of a breather as Goal comes in over the wicket. Amy Jones tries to ramp, but really misses the timing completely, and there's no run. I don't know if she got the handle on that almost.
Yeah, it hit something on the way through, I think. There. Just trying to watch. I think it did hit the bottom of the bat. Just looking at the replay over here, but didn't really go anywhere, did it?
No. 40 for 1. Goal over to the right-handed Amy Jones, who smacks that through to mid-on, and they get through again for an easy single. She's got up and over that one, and there's a lot of noise, but it wasn't going very far, and I don't know if it's the sound off the pitch, but it's not as crisp a sound of batting as I was listening to at Chelmsford yet, but maybe they're just getting the timing for this strip. It's Joey Gardner back, I think.
So run rate currently sitting probably just over 5, as I say, Gardner's changed the field here.
41 for 1 off 8 overs. Sort of approaching the midpoint. Eve Jones certainly with her eye in. Amy Jones struggling a little bit with what looks like, we can only assume is something like cramp as the PA booms out that the change of bowling from this end, Sarah.
Yeah, so Gardner's coming back in. She's got a deep square, deep mid-wicket, a long on and a deep cover. She comes over the wicket to Amy Jones, a little bit short, and Amy Jones hit that away just over the top of a mid-wicket fielder, and it's gone for 4. A little bit fortunate there, maybe, Amy Jones. I appreciate that the fielder probably had jumped very high to get even a slight hand on that, but it did race away in the end for 4 runs. It was a nice shot by Amy Jones, but possibly a slight little bit risky with the fielder just there.
I think there was a bit of luck more than judgment. I mean, she really got hold of that one, and I think it's Castle there struggling to she tried. She had a big leap at it.
As Gardner comes back in again. A little bit fuller. Jones has gone for a reverse there. It could have gone through for a single, but they choose to not take it. Maksud was just round there from third man to pick that up just in time. I think if Eve Jones had been really ready and on the ball there, it could have been a single.
I think she was asleep there,
yeah,
Sarah.
centre back for a dot ball.
She may have been unsighted with where the ball had gone potentially.
As Gardner comes back into Jones, who rocks back, hits that through the covers. That's a busy Cordelia Griffiths there, picks that up.
She's
single.
magnetic, isn't she? The ball seems going to her wherever she is.
She's been right over one side of the pitch and then the other, and it seems to go to her, as I said, wherever she's fielding at the moment. As the field changes go on for the left-handed Eve Jones, and Gardner is coming round the wicket. So this is the first time I've seen her bowl this off-spin, just new to it this season. It seems to be very effective so far. Oh, Castle's just stretched out to that, and it's gone for a single through the covers there as it's come back into Joe Gardner. And Tatani just cleaning up a little bit at this end of the throw, came in not quite over the stumps there.
So it was an entertaining one. We had a dive from the fielder, and then the boundary fielder running round and scooping the ball up, but as you say, only one run.
So interesting here, they've taken Castle out and put her into a third man position where that ball went last time from Jones. There's now a bigger gap, but she's actually played it through the offside for a dot ball to Datani.
Yeah. I wonder if this is some sort of trap, because they're hoping that Eve Jones will put one off. She got 50 and then holed out easily to Lauren Filer on Saturday.
So Amy Jones rocks back. She's hit that straight down the ground. That's hit nice and hard. But it's just for a single there as Goyle comes round and fields the ball. Again, not quite taken cleanly by Gardner over the stumps there, but it'll do just for a single to end the over. And after 9 overs, the score is 48 for 1. Eve Jones is on 25 and Amy Jones on 16.
Yes, we're approaching that milestone of that first 50, which makes the batters more comfortable once they've gone past that milestone. And Sunrisers having a good old discussion about where Abta Maqsood wants the field, and Castle's marshalling her troops to various corners of the field. Maqsood coming in from the far end, from the city end. We've got a great view across the city height skyline here. Maqsood right arm over into Amy Jones, who plays that comfortably behind square leg. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, there is that, and Jane Powell and I were talking about it on last Saturday, that players at the level that Amy Jones is at just seem to have so long to play those kind of, they almost seem to hold time still as they hit those kind of shots. So that was 4, and move on to 52 for 1. Amy Jones waits for Maqsood and pops that forward just easily down to long on, and she gets through for a single, and the score moves on to 53 for 1.
Yeah, the sweep is so important in the women's game, and Amy Jones played an excellent sweep then, and actually straight to all these girls, young girls watching. I hope they are paying note of that. Nice still head, cross the ball, and an easy 4 runs for Amy Jones there.
Maqsood into Eve Jones, who pushes that forward and just trots through for an easy single. And the score moves on to 54 for 1. Maqsood just checking her fielder back in the right place, and Amy Jones just has a swing of the bat. And then she's straight to the fielder, and the fielder drops it behind square leg, right on the
Scrivens there? I can't see from here.
Might be. She's kicking
yes, it's Grace Scrivens
herself, but it went straight to her. But it was a quick chance, but it did go straight to her. So that's another drop from Sunrisers as Maqsood comes into Eve Jones, who puts that through to cover point, and they go through for 1 run. Score moves on to 56 for 1.
Yeah, we saw them warming up earlier, and I think she took at least 10, if not 15 catches from Laura Marsh, coming at that sort of height into her body.
Yeah,
and just gain pressure there, maybe not just quite being alert, but she'll be ruining that drop.
Yeah. Maqsood into Amy Jones, who swipes at that, and it goes straight to the fielder at cover, and they don't get a run there, and that's the end of the over. We move on to 56 for 1. That's the halfway stage, so 10 overs gone then, Sarah. What do you reckon? Who do you reckon's won it so far.
Well, I would say that you would be in the Sparks camp. You'd be happy with that, just 1 wicket down. Perhaps not as strong a start as they've been off to in the last couple of games, with Isabel Wong getting them off the mark so quickly. But these two are very good, very experienced batters, and you'd be thinking that now, with only 10 overs to go of this game and 9 wickets in hand, they'd be looking to push on a little bit further. I mean, obviously, Sunrisers with those couple drop catches will be hoping that maybe they could have picked up another wicket by now, as Castle comes in to bowl round the wicket at Eve Jones, who's going to ramp this. Oh no, unfortunately she's out. So tried something different then, Eve Jones, and perhaps it just wasn't the time to do so. And I'm not sure whether she hit her own wickets there or whether she played it straight. She played it straight into her own stumps there, so she'll be disappointed. That'll go down in the book as bowled, and Eve Jones is bowled for 27 of 31 deliveries on Kelly Castle.
Yes, maybe too funky too soon, but you just get the feeling that she was a bit out of sorts in terms of perhaps some cramp or something. Just not really. I mean, they were getting hold of the ball, but not really finding the gaps very much. She did give some chances.
Eve plays it so well down the ground, and they were just going for singles today rather than the fours that maybe put her to thinking she's got to do something now, something different. Instead of playing those straight shots, she's gone for something different there, and you can't fault them for trying these shots and for attempting these different things and moving the field, but it didn't quite come off for Eve Jones there today. As the new batter comes to the crease in Abby Freeborn. Freeborn, of course, came over from Lightning over the winter, one of Sparks' 2 new signings, and Amy Campbell, who came from the Northern Diamonds.
And Abby Freeborn got 52 against Western Storm in her debut, so Central Sparks will certainly be hoping that she can repeat that kind of form.
Yes, she's actually a wicket keeper as well, but so we've got abundance of wicket keepers in this Sparks side as Castle comes over the wicket. Nice full delivery first up to Freeborn, who just plays that through to mid-wicket for no run.
Yes, we've got. I don't know what her collective noun for wicket keepers is.
Well, yeah, there's certainly a fair few. Gwen Davis, though, has proved herself in the field. I think the last few games with taking some excellent catches. She's a very good fielder, as is Freeborn. But with Amy Jones, you can't really be expecting to get the gloves anytime soon, can you? As there's a dot ball there again to Freeborn from Castle.
I guess they'll get more of a chance when we move to the 50 over Rachel Hayhoe Flint competition, which is the same 8 regions but playing over the 50 over format instead, so maybe some of those other wicket keepers will get a chance then.
It's Castle over the wicket as the sun comes across the ground. Finally, it's nice and warm here. Freeborn rocks back there. It's just a backward point and there's no run. Again, she's 3 dot balls now. I think she's just getting herself in the groove here, Freeborn, and hopefully we'll see a run scoring shot from her soon. Castle back to her mark, tosses the ball up, steps in, accelerates. Nice long limbs of Kelly Castle here, straight down to Freeborn, and that's her off the mark there with a single. Once again fielded by Griffiths there at mid-off.
You get the feeling that she was just glad to hit that and get off the mark there. I think that's always when you're batting, you really want to feel that first run and give a good call and make sure it's a safe single.
These girls
start.
are getting used to playing at these better county grounds, and it's sort of becoming a little bit more second nature, but it's still a big occasion for these players. As Castle into Amy Jones, who plays that for no run into mid-wicket. That was a good over by Castle there, so the dismissal of Eve Jones, and I think she's only gone for 5 runs in her 2 overs so far, so the captain leading by example here.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is an interesting battle here. So we've got Abby Freeborn establishing herself within Central Sparks, having come over from Lightning. And we've got Naomi Ditani coming on at the far end. As you mentioned earlier, the repositioning of the ponytail is obviously part of the pre-delivery routine now for a lot of these players.
Well, yeah, you take your cap off and your hair's all over the place and you're coming into bowl. But yes, it seems to be a regular occurrence in women's cricket.
We've got a deep cover point, deep backward square. We've got a deep mid-wicket, we've got a deep long on. Datani left arm round to the right-handed Freeborn, who slices that out through the 45 for 4 runs there.
Not 100% sure that Freeborn knew that that ball was going there then. I mean, we could say that she worked it through because third man is in the ring and there was a gap there, and it was a welcome gap, but I'm pretty sure she meant to hit that a little bit more through the covers.
I think that was a little bit like, I'm going to claim that, but I may not necessarily have meant it to go there. But we'll give her the credit for it. It's still 4 runs on there. It doesn't matter how they come, does it? It's still 4 runs, and they move Abtabaqsood further out at deep third.
So they've now got a mid on rather than a long on, and third man on the boundary.
Datani into Abby Freeborn, who swiped that for 4, an easy 4. It almost was 4 before it left the bat there as she swiped across that.
That was a nice sound off the bat there, wasn't there? As her first really good sort of middle shot of the day through square leg for a lovely 4 from Abby Freeborn. A little bit short there from Datani. I think she's Freeborn's bread and butter there, got hold of that, and that will settle her a little bit at the crease.
Datani in, what response has she got to Freeborn? Freeborn tries again and just drops it, and they go through for a drop and run. And the noise that you heard on the last ball of that huge 4, it was the bottom of the sort of hovercraft covers that we've got here at Edgbaston, and it really walloped the side of that. So that was a real hard knocking noise that you heard there. And Amy Jones twizzles a bat, takes a guard for Datani coming in right, left arm around to the right-handed Amy Jones, who just dabs that down to point, but it's straight to the field and they don't get a run there, and the score is 66 for 2 as we head towards the end of the 12th over. I've got this theory, we were at 50 or something, weren't we, for 10 overs, and I kind of feel like it's sort of double plus 20, so it doesn't look like it's heading for a big score, but we'll see how it goes. Datani, left arm round to Amy Jones, who launches that into the stand and into the picket fence for 6. So the first 6, is that the first 6 again?
First 6 of the game.
Sue Redfern signals that to the scorers.
So there's 2 balls this over that both batters have really got hold of, and that was an excellent 6 from Amy Jones. She saw that really early, to put her hand straight through the ball, through the mid-wicket, I suppose we'd call that cow corner-ish area there for 6 runs.
Into the picket fence, so Datani into Amy Jones, who takes a swipe at that, and it goes down the leg side, and it's signalled all wide. Yeah, I mean, Datani seems to be, she has a fast action, so it must be coming in, but they're obviously seeing it early, and I wonder whether not having a close fielder on that mid-wicket side just gives them a bit more time to take a big swipe at the ball there, if it's at all short.
Well, you think it could be a tactic from the Sunrisers here to leave that gap, but Amy Jones just seems to be saying thank you very much for leaving it where I'd like to hit it.
Oh, and it's another one, it's right into the spectators. I hope they're watching down there as it hits about the 5th row of the seats without touching the floor, and another 6 from Amy Jones. So Amy Jones has obviously decided that's it, right?
Off I go.
I'm going now. You drop something short, and I'll say thank you very much as she puts that up and over and into the stand without any effort appearing at all.
Yeah, she didn't look like she had to give that too much then to send that.
Helped it along its way.
Getting a little bit short from Datani, and Amy Jones dispatches that over into where the majority of our spectators are sitting today, enjoying the game. So we thankfully no one was hurt in the hitting of that 6 there, but there's a lot of young girls in from the local clubs here, from Kenilworth, from Bedworth, from Dorridge, and I think from Warmley. So they've been organised by the Warwickshire Cricket Board to be here. We saw them do the Guard of Honour, and I don't know maybe whether they'll do a little turn over the intervals. Not much time in the interval, unfortunately, over T20.
But 15 minutes without any rain delays at half time at the interval. So so
not much time for a game of quick cricket. That
it does be very quick.
So Scrivens is coming back into the attack here. She's bowling. Abby Freeborn. Bit full there, and it's driven by Abby Freeborn through to our deep cover fielder there for 1 run.
Yes, Gardner doing the picking up there. You can hear the Sunrisers trying to G each other up in the field here, and Lots of shouting and clapping.
Scrivens coming in again over the wicket at the right-handers now. Going slightly full, it's rocked back and hit straight again to Joey Gardner on the cover boundary. I think we're talking about scores and predictions. I think sometimes we say to the youngsters that what the score is at 12 should be the score at 20, double the score at 20, so that would make us on about 160 there, I think.
Well,
so
they
will take that as a central, definitely take that. So Scrivens into right. Oh, and the bails have gone by Scarlett Hughes there, but it's Sue Redfern has signalled that not out. I think it's a little bit of an ambitious stump in there. I don't think Abby Freeborn left her crease at all, but still some fast work behind the stumps from Scarlett Hughes there.
Spectacular flying of the bails there. It's keeping the umpire warmed up anyway.
Yeah, running back to
the carpet.
Scrivens again then from the pavilion end. Nice flight she's getting here. And that's just driven down the ground to Goyle at long on for a quick single.
Yeah, no risk there. It was just a nice swipe of the ball down there. Fielder just taking that, coming off the rope and taking that back in it quite easily.
Lovely rhythmical action Scrivens has got here. She's obviously a very talented young cricketer. You can see her coming in to bowl, and that's a sort of club down there to Goyle, who's busy down at this long arm boundary to both batters. It's going for just one a ball. I don't think anybody's too upset by that, but you just can't help but think that either Jones or Freeborn's going to get hold of one of these anytime soon. Scrivens comes back in here, nice light on her feet, a little bit shorter then with that delivery that's just punched back straight into the bowler's hands. And that's the end of the over, and we are 83 for 2 off 13 overs. Freeborn is 12 off 11, and Amy Jones is 36 off 31 deliveries.
Yes, finally poised I think here. Just the 2 wickets down then. Plenty of batting to go. How many risks will Jones and Freeborn take here? They certainly batted well on Saturday at Sophia Gardens.
Yeah, and you know with Sparks they've got a lot of batting to come, as we've said. I mean, we've got the young Davina Perrin in today. I think we'll probably be coming in at 7 or 8, and Gwen Davis. We've also got Amy Campbell, the other left-hander.
Maksud to Jones, who goes early and again launches that towards the spectators, but doesn't quite make the seats. It hits the advertising hoarding, but again, absolutely no risk. Just lifting that up over backwards square for those 6 runs to Amy Jones as we head into the 14th over, and Maksud tries to decide what she's going to do, because Amy Jones just seems to have so much time, and she took a step right out, you know, while the ball was in the air then, and just
a change of field to bring a backward square on the boundary. But I do think if it's going to go, it's going to go over their head.
Amy Jones pushes that forward into the mid-on region. They get through for an easy single. Starting to speed up a little bit here. We feel like the gears are going up, I think.
So you can't help but think if Amy Jones does get hold of one of these shots, these fielders on the deep boundary here are just not going to be far enough, because it's actually clear over their heads.
Freeborn, who slices that out through the cover region, and the fielder bends down but just misses it just at the rope, so that goes through for 4 there. That was unfortunate. I think she just perhaps it bobbled or something, but it went through the cover fielder, and the boundary rider just got hand down, but just couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah, that's Flo Miller, I believe, out there. But I think maybe getting down to the ball a little bit more, and that's on that boundary.
Maksud into Freeborn, who swipes that backward of square, but straight to the fielder, and they get through for the single. Score moves on to 94 for 2 as we approach that next milestone, Sarah. We're heading towards that magic 3 figures as Maksud tosses the ball from hand to hand, and what's Amy Jones going to do with this one? She swipes that up and over. They just trot through for the single.
That's better work from Flo Miller out in the deep there, making sure, getting behind it.
There's 1 or 2 worn strips and carpet covers and things. I don't know if that's making it a little bit bubbly out there. Maksud to Freeborn, who again sweeps that towards the boundary, and Joe Gardner does the tidying up, and they just get through for the single, and that's the end of the over. We are on 97 for 2 off 14 overs, so just the 6 overs to go. And that feeling like Central Sparks are starting to just slowly get up through the gears. So Amy Jones has snuck through to 44 and Freeborn on 18, but there's that sense that if these two get hold, as they did at Sophia Gardens on Saturday, we'll see if we can get a big score for Central Sparks there. And Sunrisers, meanwhile, will be Cordelia Griffiths having a chat with Kelly Castle, the captain there, deciding what tactics they've got here for these two batters.
Yeah, Castle has bowled well today, so she's led from the front nicely here, and she's not gone for too many runs as she comes back in over the wicket. Was a nice shot though by Freeborn. I think, Joey Garner just couldn't make that, and that's 4 runs through extra cover. It's a lovely shot from Freeborn there. So a dive just in vain from Gardner on the boundary there, and didn't quite get that. And that's the 100 up for the Sparks. 101 for 2 of 14.1 overs there.
Yeah, that magic 100. Nice way to bring it up with a
lovely punch there.
Full throttle punch through there. Yeah.
Oh, it's well bowled by Castle. That's an excellent reply, just beating the bat of Freeborn and going straight through into the hands of Hughes there. Yeah, Castle will be a bit disappointed with that. That was, I think she's only gone for 8 in her two overs. I think it's the first boundary that she's gone for, but it was a great shot from Freeborn through the covers there.
Yeah.
As Castle comes back in over the wicket here, and it's just worked by Freeborn into this gap into the leg side, scampered through for a single.
I think that single there really demonstrated these two, know what they're doing as professionals in terms of it. It was a bit of a squirt really to short square, but there's no fielder there, and backing up, good calling, and an easy single.
As Castle tosses the ball up, comes back in over the wicket to Amy Jones. Oh, that's another great shot from Amy Jones over backward square, and that's running across the boundary for 4. It's another fantastic shot. It's the second time she's played that shot, I think, today. One of them went for 6 on the shorter boundary, and that one's gone for 4 as the fielder chases it all the way to the edge of the pitch. There's a bit of a long chase there, and it's a 50 partnership for Freeborn and Jones off 27 balls.
It almost is Amy Jones's trademark shot today, isn't it? That lifting that ball up over.
Yeah, of course she was lucky not to be caught out by playing it early on, but she races on to 48 here as Castle comes in again. Oh, just trying to get to that 50 there, Amy Jones, but she didn't quite get hold of that one there. Needs to keep her head as there's a shout from the coaching box there. I think she could stay in these last 5 overs or so, and there'll be a really decent score for the Sparks on the board here.
So I was just going to check the scores at the other grounds in a minute for you.
Coming into Jones one more time. She's played that square, and is it out? Oh my word, she's been dropped again at square leg. That's the second time she's been dropped. Is that Scrivens again who's dropped her there? I do believe it might be. Scrivens is not going to be happy with herself today. So Amy Jones played that to square leg, and it was a sharp chance there, but it's dropped again by Grace Scrivens on fielding at square leg, and Amy Jones moves on to 49 of 37 deliveries.
I'll just give you a quick roundup from the other ground. So at Chesterley Street, Southern Vipers are 89 for 4, and they're into the 14th over up there at Chesterley Street. And at the Leicester ground, where Hannah Thompson and Mike Perkins are looking after you on the live stream there, Thunder are 130 for no loss into the 17th over there. So Thunder doing well, not losing any wickets there against Lightning at Leicester Grace Road.
As we've got Goyle coming in from the city end here with Sparks on 107 for 2 off 15 overs.
Amy Jones. She sliced that past the cover field, and that's gone for again an easy 4, and Amy Jones is 50. Well batted, Amy Jones. 53 from 38 balls, and you can hear that the appreciative crowd probably off camera, but down to our left here we can see them, and they're making a lot of noise there for us as Amy Jones gets her 50 with a lovely shot there, just striking that through the cover. What does goal have his response? So it's a wide ball. There's a very loose delivery there from goal, well outside.
Yes, excellent 50 from Amy Jones. You can't say it's chanceless, but it's been she's been very classy. She's played lots of different shots all around the ground, and it's been lovely to watch her score these different runs with different shots today.
Yeah, goal to Jones, who launches that one as well. Is that going into the stand? It's hit the tractor.
Gary Barwell and his team out there looking on, seeing if it's made any damage there. He's going to check his ground stuff.
The ground staff are going to check the vehicle now. Amy Jones, I hope her insurance is up to date. She's left a ball-sized lump out of the equipment on the boundary there with that 6 as we move through to 118 for 2, and we're into the 16th over here. What has goal got in response to that? Steaming in. Jones takes a step again, but just pushes that out to point, and there's no run there. Just a sort of dab, and it went straight to the fielder, so no run as the fielder is on the fielding
Scrivens again there, isn't it? I think she's in at point at the moment now, and the square leg is now on the boundary for Amy Jones, for Goyle.
On a deep long on. Goal into Jones, who puts that down to Datani at cover, and they get through for an easy single. They think about a second, but really there wasn't really a second on there.
No, I mean it was well fielded, but she didn't quite pick it up cleanly. She got down to the ball really quickly there, Datani. But they were thinking of that second run where she was getting back on her feet, but I think it might have just been a little bit too risky there.
Yeah. Into Freeborn this time, wailing about. She comes forward and drives that to that long on fielder, and they come through for one run, and the score moves on to 120 for 2. Goal goes back to her mark. She considers what she should do here to Amy Jones, who seems to have a lot of time on the ball. If there's any looseness of the bowling at all, goal in from the far end. Jones steps across and launches another one. How many seats back is this going to be? It was at least 6 rows back. She's launched that into the family stand, and that's going to take some retrieving. The ground staff are going to look for the ball there, and Sunrisers now have to kind of work out how are they going to deal with Amy Jones, and what is starting to become a bit of a rampant 66, Freeborn on 24, and the score on 126 for 2. 16 overs gone, so just the 4 overs left then, Sarah.
Yeah, but, if Amy Jones keeps playing in this way, this could be a really big, strong total for the Sparks here. They're just batting well. I mean, so there has been some chances that from Amy Jones that there have been sharp chances, and they've been hit really hard. So Freeborn's come in and not really given any chances. She's played nicely against the spin and against the pace of Kelly Castle, and she's just playing a nice supportive role to Amy Jones here. Just be interesting to see what happens now. Jerry Gardner's coming back on with her off spin to face Abby Freeborn's on strike here, and so the score is 126 for 2 of 16 overs. As Gardner comes in to Freeborn, who moves her feet nicely, comes down, plays that through to mid wicket, and I think they'll just get a single there.
They thought about the second again, didn't they?
Yeah.
They did think about it.
It's that time in the game where you think, actually, do we want to risk a little bit more, try and get these extra runs on the board? But I say these two batting so nicely, it'd be a shame to see anything run-out wise happen at this stage of the game.
Yes, yes. Do you take the risk, given that there's plenty of batting, but then you've got your eye on at this stage?
Yes, Gardner comes in nicely flighted, a little bit full there. Amy Jones sort of chops that away to.
When they get through,
overthrow, so they're going. Yeah, it's a bit of a
buzzer.
Yeah, disappointing throw in there from Castle to Hughes behind the stumps. I don't think she had so much of a chance of getting that, and so they've turned a dot into a nice quick single there, as Gardner Coming now to right-handed Freeborn's a nice high back lift, using her feet again. It's a lovely sweep away there. Just gone to backward square and then just getting a single. Almost hit that too well to get a 2 that time, I think. If it had just been slightly less on it, they perhaps could have got back for a second, but a lovely sweep there from Freeborn to get her back on the non-striker's end. It's Gardner is coming in now to Amy Jones. Short, Amy's used her feet, come down the track. Oh, and she's been dropped again. Oh, she's not so quite 9 lives yet, but definitely 3 I've counted so far. So that's a third man, is that Castle there, and she's a short third man just sitting on the ring. Amy Jones got not much of a clean shot on there, but it was dropped there back at third man. Gardner back into Freeborn, who's swept that nicely behind to Maksud, who's just put that straight back into the keeper's hands for a single.
Yeah, Sunrisers getting frustrated here. You can hear the bit of the shouting, but the heads have sort of gone down a little bit. They're trying to work out what to do with these two, really.
As Gardner tosses the ball up, comes back over the wicket, bit full. Oh, how did that miss? I feel like that just tiny bit missed the stumps there as Amy Jones went for the paddle again there and missed. I think did it miss everything, or did she get a little bit of bat on it? I didn't see a signal from the umpire, so maybe a tiny bit of bat from Amy Jones there, and she goes on to 69 off 45 deliveries. The score is 1-3-2 for 2, and there's 3 overs remaining.
Yeah, just a quick round up with the other grounds while they decide the next. So Southern Vipers, who won the toss and elected to bat, are at 104 for 5 of their 15 overs. Meanwhile, at the Thunder game, they have lost a couple of wickets now, so they are at 137 off 18 overs against Lightning. So the game at Chesterley Street, you will have Jem Green and James looking up after you up there at on the live stream as Maksud comes in to Amy Jones, who puts that to the back of the stand, the family stand. That must be 2 rows from the back of the back seats there, Sarah.
Yeah, and you can say that on a T20 game when there's a massive crowd in there of young children, you can feel that they'd be in danger a little bit from Amy Jones, and it's keeping the ground staff busy here as they go and look for the ball between all these seats. I think it's probably gone back down about row, I reckon that's about row J there of the stand, as he's thrown it in, the groundsman.
I think they're going to need to look at the state of this ball, because it's getting a proper clonking from Amy Jones. And Sue Redfern takes a quick look at the state of the ball, and Abta Maksud decides what she's going to do. Amy Jones twizzles the bat. And she knocks that respectfully down first and in for the run, and Joey Gardner throws almost dismissively back to the wicketkeeper in some frustration that the ball was going straight over their heads on that boundary there. Maksud this time to Freeborn, who knocks her back down on the floor, and then Freeborn's decided he's got it up in the air, but there's a field out. Joey Gardner's got that one. That's a catch, so Freeborn is out. Freeborn obviously trying to emulate her batting colleague there and tries to launch one but doesn't get all of it, and it goes up into the sky, and Joey Gardner gets into that catching zone quickly and takes a good comfortable catch there, Sarah.
Yes, I mean she did try and say, as you said, do the similar shot to Amy Jones, and it just kind of went more up than across, I think, unfortunately, and a safe pair of hands in Joey Gardner. So I think they'll be relieved out on that boundary that one has finally gone to them and not just sailed over their heads. But it was well batted from Abby Freeborn there, so 27 off 21 balls, and it's an excellent partnership with Amy Jones to take the score on to 139 for 3. As Amy Jones is joined at the crease by Amy Campbell.
Amy and Amy. So instead of Jones and Jones, we've got Amy and Amy.
Amy and Amy, and a left-hand, right-hand combination again.
Oh, yes.
So, as we mentioned earlier, Campbell has come over from the Diamonds this summer. She's from Newcastle, I believe, and now moved to this area, and one of the professional players with the Sparks, and so it's good to see her involved in the setup here.
Maksud to Campbell, who takes a swing and a miss, and oh goodness, that was the wicketkeeper's eyes lit up at that point. Stumping, catching, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether that was a missed chance there. She did come out of her crease and
a mad moment,
sharp chance, but perhaps one to go.
And she comes forward and pushes that straight to the middle, and they get through for that single. I suspect that was a need to get off the mark from Amy Campbell, who got a 30 not out off 17 balls against Western Storm, and was certainly part of that victory for Sparks over Western Storm over at Sophia Gardens. And we had some proper sunshine there. It was a cloudless blue sky, and we've got some fluffy clouds here, but it looks like absolute perfect cricket conditions out there. As Maqsood comes into Jones, who takes it on the full toss and sweeps that through the fielders again, hits the bottom of that hovercraft, covers, and gets an easy 4 there for Amy Jones, and the score moves on to 144 for 3, and that's the end of the 18th over.
It's a case there, wasn't it, of looking for the gaps rather than looking at the fielders. It's probably perfectly between the fielder on the mid-wicket boundary and on the square leg backward square boundary, so it probably went straight in between them. It's great placement from Amy Jones, who, as we've said a few times today, is making it look quite effortless here. She's hitting, but it just doesn't seem to be that she's not pushing, she's not trying too hard, she's just taking her time and swiping through the ball really excellently today. She's now on 80 of 48 balls.
Gardner back on again. Amy Campbell, of course, is playing some county cricket for Worcestershire. She got 80 against Staffs and 70 not out against Shropshire, so an informant county.
Gardner's coming round the wicket at Campbell. Amy Jones looking for the single there, but the keeper has picked that up and thrown it straight back to Gardner here. He's in our last over. She's gone for 19 so far. She's bowled nicely as Gardner. She's coming round the wicket to the left-handed Amy Campbell. Bit short this one, and Campbell slides it down, but Gardner's done really well to get a hand on that. It's hit straight back at her. The hand wasn't towards the stumps, as you might think it might have been a little bit dangerous, but she has stopped that from potentially going for 4 runs there.
She did well to get down really quickly, and certainly stopped a couple of runs there, possibly 4, because it was really, the ball was really motoring, so she did well to stop that.
It's hit really cleanly by Amy Campbell there to bring Jones back on strike. Say she's on 80 here. She's still got a couple of overs left. I wonder if she could push towards those 3 figures. Has she gone?
That's it.
Yeah, it's been given out by Sue Reference.
No.
Some death memory there. Yes, there we go. So Amy Jones is stumped on 80 of 48 balls, so she is out, and that's stumped by the keeper Scarlett Hughes off the bowling of Jo Gardner.
Yeah, I think she doesn't want to test out Hughes. Very entertaining 80.
An excellent innings from Amy Jones there, and you can't help but think though that Gardner deserves a wicket after the way she's bowled today. I think she's bowled some good areas there, and she's been bowling at difficult times in this game. She actually opened the bowling there as an off spinner, and say for someone who's quite new to the game of spinning, she's given a good account of herself today.
Yeah, and also she'll, if one imagines that she'll want to play well against a lot of her old Warwickshire teammates as well. So,
and this Sarah Glenn comes to the crease, the right-hander. So in the England frames, these are England teammates at the crease together here, and Gardner will be keen to pick up another wicket, but Glenn, of course, scores very quickly, and this is a good time in the game for her to come on and perhaps just put a few quick runs on the board here. As Gardner comes a little bit short, Glenn rocks back as a quick single into the cover, so she's nicely off the mark on her first ball there.
Yeah, good to get off the mark there, I think, for Sarah Glenn. Well, she's known as obviously as a spin bowler, but she can bat, and, but just doesn't often get the chance, I suspect, the teams that she plays in, to get a bat. And of course, we've got left and right, so the fielder busy swapping round for each batter.
So Gardner in round the wicket again at the left-hander. Campbell comes down the wicket. He thought she was going to go big there, but just at the last minute didn't quite get hold of that, and it's a dot ball. Score is 146 for 4. As Gardner walks back to her mark, tossing the ball up, takes a deep breath. You can see her coming in, but that's slightly wide of the off stump, and it's nicely hit then for Campbell for a single down to Flo Miller on the deep cover boundary. And that's the over. It's the end of the 19th over. It's well bowled to say from Joe Gardner there. It's a nice spell from her, and it's 147 for 4. We've got Campbell on 3 and Glenn on 1.
Yeah, so this is the last over then, so what can Central Sparks push this score up to just as we finish now? So 6 more balls. What can Sunrisers do? Can they get some more wickets? How can Central Sparks get through the 150 mark? Because that's certainly a mental barrier when you're chasing, to be chasing over 150, so 147 so far. 6 balls. What can Central Sparks make of this? As Amy Campbell, left-handed, takes a guard. Castle in from the far end, round the wicket. Amy Campbell takes a big swing at that, and it goes through to backward square. They think about a second, but just that single. Just sort of glanced there almost to the deep fielder, but just that one run, and it brings Glenn on to strike. They bring in the point fielder. They're shuffling the field a little here as we hear the umpire explain the change of action from the bowler. Right, I'm over this time from Castle to Glenn. Almost a full toss there, and she squeezes that out just between point and cover. Again, another single. We move to 148, 149. Will they make the 150?
Well, you'd hope so with the 4 balls left of this innings. Castle's bowled well, but I think there probably will be some real runs to be had here.
Yeah, Amy Campbell launches that towards Naomi Datani at the mid-wicket boundary, and she manages to field that easily on the bounce, making that look easy anyway. And they get through for the single, and we see the 150 up. 150 for 4 then. Extras 4, and we're into those magic last few balls. Sarah Glenn faces Castle. And Sarah Glenn takes a swipe, and they run through, although she didn't actually get hold of it. Is there a chance of a run out the far end? Sue Redfern says no. They just got through for the single.
It's a little bit slow motion there from Hughes. I wonder why she didn't throw it any harder. She just sort of rolled it in, perhaps again scarring from the other day of worrying about the overthrows late on in the innings. But bless her, just rolled it along the ground there, and maybe that was a half chance there to run out Sarah Glenn.
They will be once bitten, twice shy. Castle comes in to Amy Campbell, who launches that straight down the pitch, and it takes the stump out the other end, and the umpire has to dive well out of the way. The fielders go scampering towards the boundary, and I don't know what happened there. So we had a full throttle hit back down the ground, which took the stump out at the bowler's end. The ball then deflected off towards the boundary, and the score moves on as Sue Redfern replaces the stump, having made a real mess of the furniture there. And the score is at 153 for 4. 1 ball left from Castle. So what can Castle serve at Amy Campbell here, who's on 7 runs? And there's a bail loose, or there's something loose on the pitch.
Might even be a part of the stump, I think, after the way that took
there was shrapnel flying in all sorts of different directions on that ball. Very exciting. So 1 ball left. Castle in to Campbell, who takes a big swing, and it goes through. Oh, and it's a caught and bowled. Oh my word! She had almost 2 goes at that as it went past her. It was a screaming hit straight at Castle, who manages to sort of deflect it and catch it all in one motion. So Campbell is caught out from Castle, caught and bowled, and the score we finish on is 153 for 5 after 20 overs. And Campbell is out for 7. Glenn is 2 for not out. And I'm just going to get the scores up. Have you got the scores?
Yeah, I've got the scorecard here. So Sparks finish on a 153 for 5 there. So commentators are saying the same thing as us over the microphone. So Eve Jones was bowled Castle for 27. Izzy Wong was bowled Datani for 5. Amy Jones, an excellent innings, stumped in the end by Hughes off the bowling of Gardner for 80. Abby Freeborn was caught in the deep at Gardner off the bowling of Maksud for 27. Amy Campbell ended up out then, actually, wasn't she? She was the person who was caught out for first 7, caught and bowled by Kelly Castle, and Sarah Glenn not out 2 off 3 balls. So that's Central Sparks end their innings on 153 for 5, and we'll be having a short interval here before we come back for the Sunrisers innings.
Yeah, and I'm just going to do the scores from the other grounds. So up at Chesterley Street, where Robbie James and Jem Green are looking after you on the commentary there. Southern Vipers are 117 for 9 off 18.2 overs. So 117 for 9, that's the Vipers versus the Diamonds up at Chesterley Street. And then at Leicester Grace Road, now known as Upton Steel County Ground, Thunder have finished their innings 152 for 5, and Mike Perkins and Hannah Thompson are looking after you on the live stream there. And we will, as Sarah said, we'll take a short break during the interval, and we'll come back to you for the second innings. So what are you looking forward to in the second innings, Sarah?
Well, obviously an opening spell from Wongi, from Isabel Wong, and probably Emily Arlott or Grace Potts would be likely to win the bowling to some pace there. Be also nice to see Glenn, sort of the Glenn Jones combination with the spin and the stumpings potentially behind there as well. So there's lots to look forward to. Obviously there's some good batting. Scrivens is the informed batter, I think, and Jatani is known to hit a few runs there.
Griffiths was doing well.
Griffiths.
She's been run out, unfortunately, the last 2 games.
Yeah, so there's plenty to look forward to, and it would be it's a steep task for the Sunrisers, but be good to see their run chase after the break now.
Yeah, so we'll join you again after the break for the innings of Sunrisers. What have they got in reply to Central Sparks?
Come on, you lot. Come on, you bowlers. We're going straight off and whoever gets the square leg.
Please welcome down to the field our umpires, Super Chair and Bronze Master.
Come on, you bowlers. Come on, you lot. Come on, buddy. Come on, Foxy.
Please welcome down to the field Central Sparks.
Oh, there we are then. I better turn that up. Right. Good afternoon. I'm just having a bit of a play with the equipment. Right. Welcome back to Edgbaston for Central Sparks versus Sunrisers. So we're about to see the Sunrisers batting innings, and you are listening to Claire Jenkins, former Somerset and Derbyshire county cricketer, and Sarah Ginn. What were you describing you as, Sarah?
So Warwickshire and Teens Girls coach. There we go.
Wait for the man to finish. So that was Sarah Ginn trying to explain that she's in charge of junior cricket for Warwickshire girls. That's what I'm going to say. So back to the second innings, and we've got Isabel Wong coming on from the far end, and Cordelia Griffiths to face. So Sparks put 153 on the board for 5. And what can Sunrisers do in reply? Isabel Wong steaming in from the city end to the right-handed Griffiths, who carves that through point. And Gwen Davies goes chasing after it, but it hits the rope, and that's 4 off the first ball for Sunrisers. Great start there, straight off the mark for Cordelia Griffiths, who's unfortunately managed to get herself run out the last 2 innings that she's played. So she'll be hoping that the calling is good this afternoon, no doubt.
A little bit wide there, first up from Isabel, a little bit of width for Griffiths. It's unfortunate because it's got her in the groove straight away.
Into Cordelia Griffiths, who's Gwen Davies manages to put a hand on that backward of point, and they get through for a single, and Sparks are up and about it in terms of shouting to each other. And we've got a left and a right-handed combination here from Sunrisers. So Grace Scrivens, left-handed bat here, as she gets a guard from Sue Redfern the far end.
So we've got Grace Potts here, who is a third man. Then they've got a deep square leg in Hannah Baker on the boundary as well. And we did talk about this abundance of wicket keepers, which meant they have had a slip, although Abby Freeborn seems to be coming out of the slip and into fine leg for the left-hander here.
Yeah, it's obviously a plan here, as one comes into the left-handed Scrivens, taps a bat, and tries to flicker that off her hip, but it goes past her, and Scrivens looks at the umpire as if to say, we're getting a wide for that. Sue Redfern's unmoved, which is good enough for me.
May have just hit something on the way through there. I mean, obviously Sue must have thought that did hit something, but Scrivens, the way that she looked at the umpire, was looking a little bit unsure.
Yep, as one comes into Scrivens. Scrivens just pushes that out to the point fielder, and Gwen Davis fields that comfortably. Gwen Davis making that look easy as it bounced in front of her. And they aren't that easy to stop, those balls, and as I know from fielding there in the midst of time.
Yeah, Gwen Davis, an excellent point fielder, is actually going from one side to the other for the left hand, right hand. It proves her value at that position for this side.
Yeah. Scrivens, who knocks that just down in front of her, and there is no run.
It's a better length there from Isabel Wong. So a few slightly wide deliveries, I'd say, early up, but that's a great line and length. And unlike Amy Jones in the first innings, Scrivens actually sort of raced a little bit there, probably came onto her a little bit quicker than expected, and so just played that back down into the ground for no run.
Yeah, Wong into Scrivens. Quite a low stance. Oh, and she wafts at that, but doesn't get anything on it, and the ball goes straight through, and we get to the end of the first over. That's 5 for no loss. Griffiths on 5. Of course, Wong will be hoping that she repeats what she did on Saturday at Sophia Gardens, where she took 1 for 14 off her 4 overs, and the one was the opener Cranston when they were playing against the Stars. Sorry, that was on Wednesday, I should say.
As we just watch Cordelia Griffith take her guard here, and Grace Potts is coming on from the pavilion end. A few little warm-ups. There's Eve Jones is positioning her field. We've got Davina Perry back on the square leg boundary, and Isabel Wong's making her way down to third man there. As I said, we've got a keeper and a keeper, so we've got Amy Jones and then Abby Freeborn next to her as a slip. So let's hope that travels through off the talented youngster who's Grace Potts, who's coming in for her first delivery here to Griffith. So in, and Griffith just leaves that, and it's a dot ball to start off with there. Some nice pace from Potts here. You wouldn't say she's quite got the pace as yet as Isabel Wong. A couple of years, I think, her junior, so perhaps there's still more to come. And she's a tall girl and gets a lot of bounce off these wickets. And let's just see what she's got in her locker today. It's Potts to deliver this ball to Griffiths. Nice and full and straight, and all Griffiths can do there is just defend it back to her. That's a good line and length for Grace Potts there, and say Griffiths just perhaps early on just having a look. She may not have faced someone such as Potts much in the past. She's just broken into this first team there, and just playing that straight back down to her. It's Potts back to her mark, storming in here. Oh, that's a nice bounce through to Griffiths there, and straight into the safe hands of Amy Jones behind the stumps. There's that bounce we were talking about there. I think that came up quite high on Griffiths there, and she was perhaps fortunate not to get anything on that at all, as it went straight through to the keeper.
Yes, because Grace Potts took 4 for 36 against Stars on Wednesday, so she'll be wanting to continue that sort of form.
Here she comes, Griffiths again. It's just again defended and straight to a point fielder that is Amy Campbell.
And the fielders really, it feels like they're making that real pinch as they come in around the ball when they're covering for the ball going loose there.
Yeah, they'd be making sure there's no singles that slip through the net here.
On the front foot there.
It's Potts bouncing into the crease. Good full delivery. That's hit straight down the ground from Griffiths, but it's only found the fielder out there. Tosses the ball, I believe that's Emily Arlott there.
Yeah, down there. Another fast bowler.
Yeah. Sparks have got a nice mix here of pace and seam on show today. Hannah Baker, who bowled so well midweek with her leg spin. And they've got the Potts, Wongi and Arlott of sort of the attacking seamers there, as Potts comes in again, a little bit fuller. Griffiths drives that straight to Eve Jones. Well fielded by Eve Jones. It's a single there through to the cover, so Griffiths pushes that through to the last ball of the over, actually, so she has taken the strike, and it's a good start from Grace Potts there. Just a couple of runs coming off her over, and Griffiths just pushing through a single on the last ball.
Yeah, very good there. A good over from Grace Potts, who clearly is in form at the moment. And the other thing that strikes me, having been at Sapphire Gardens for Central Sparks' game against Western Storm, as Eve Jones really got her fielding positions really well. They were bowling to their field, so let's see if that continues as Wong has got a slip in here. Maybe Abby Freeborn at slip. We've got a deep third and a deep backward square. Wong comes into Cordelia Griffith, who sort of tries to tennis ball shot forehand that almost, but it goes straight to the field and there's no run, so they are 6 for no loss after those 2.1 overs, and Wong scratches her head about what's she going to do next for Cordelia Griffiths. Amy Jones stood quite a long way back for this because Izzy Wong is banging this ball in. Comes in from the city end. Cordelia Griffiths just defends that down and it squirts out to sort of gully region, and Gwen Davis picks the ball up and there's no run. Still 6 for no loss.
Yeah, there isn't any sort of speed guns on site with us today, but you can't help but think that Wong is one of the fastest and the most up-and-coming bowlers on the scene at the moment, as her and Lauren Bell both sort of went on the England Academy tour over the winter and both looking to bowl as fast as they can. As Wong comes in.
Wong comes into Griffiths, who flicks that off her hip for an easy 4 runs there, and you can hear the presumably flights coming over from Birmingham Airport on in the background there. We've got a beautiful afternoon here. I mean, it's fluffy clouds, it's perfect conditions for cricket. Warm, not too warm, good sunshine. We've got a decent crowd in, lots of friends and relatives and spectators who even Amy Jones has managed to avoid when she was launching the ball. So Wong comes into Griffiths from the far end, and Griffiths smacks that square and over to that hover cover, and Davina Perrin has to go and fetch the ball with the ground staff, and that's 4 runs. Score moves on to 10 for no loss in the middle of the 3rd over as they go searching for the ball, which seems to have disappeared underneath the hover, and Davina Perrin manages to find it at the back of the covers. And I don't suppose Izzy Wong is going to be very pleased about that, and Sue Redfern just inspects the ball, make sure it's not too damaged from its travels. Cordelia Griffith really got hold of that one.
Yeah, I think we're saying about Wong trying to bowl fast, but you don't have to put much on it for it to go far then, do you?
And Griffiths, and it sort of pops up, and there's oh dear, I thought we were going to have another run over between these two. I don't know. Cordelia Griffiths just looks dismissively back at Grace Scrivens there was, as she sort of tries to survive a ball that pops at her end, and no thought in Griffiths' mind at all about taking a run, but Scrivens was on for one there. I think there probably was a run, but Griffiths
I
just
think she's
not.
A little bit surprised by the delivery and just trying to check that she was all intact, and then
defending it. And then she takes a wild swipe as the ball goes sailing past her ear almost there over the deck, and that's the last ball of Wong's over. She really banged that in, and that was coming at some pace straight through to Amy Jones, the wicket keeper, and we get to the end of the 3rd over, so halfway through the power play. We're 14 for no loss, and it's getting a bit spicy here.
Yeah, I mean, all of those 14 runs are all into Cordelia Griffiths. Say Scrivens and Griffiths having to almost mix up in that last over, and you'd hope that Griffiths won't be run out again, because she's looking in nice form today.
Yeah. And as I say, at Chelmsford, these two and Naomi Tani, really lovely, crisp hitting. And I keep saying about this, but it was a beautiful sound off the bat. So I'm looking forward to see some great shot play.
As Eve Jones moves the field, she's sent a 3rd man back and brought Wong in the ring on fine leg there for Grace Potts, who's still coming over the wicket at the left-hander. And
tramps her up there, doesn't she?
Yeah. Scrivens didn't have much time to play that, and she's just tapped it into the onside for no run. It's a nice loud call there that we heard from, even from up here, of no run from Scrivens. So let's hope that calling, nice loud calling, continues.
Yes. There is an art into it, isn't there? It has to be confident. It has to be good understanding between the batters.
As Potts races back in. Again, such a good length there that she's bowling. She's oh, it's been given a wide. It must have just triggered. I thought that hit something on the way through, but it must have missed everything. It's unlucky from Potts, because that was a nice delivery that she is pushing the ball through here and making trouble in the batsman for time.
It was the point that you were making earlier, when you've got a left and a right combination, the bowlers have to change their line of attack, don't they? So.
Yeah, so Potts is continuing over the wicket, just coming slightly wider of the crease to the left-hander. That's a little bit short. Scrivens hasn't quite got hold of that. It's put into the leg side, and there's a chase by Emily Arlett. It's just goes for a single there. So whilst we saw in the first innings that I think all of the bowlers decided to come round the wicket at the left-hander, Potts is just taking a slightly different angle, and this is something that they would have all worked on over the winter to find their line and what works best for them. As an away swing bowler, I think coming, say, slightly wider of the crease, it works for her, and she seems to be bowling, apart from that slight wide down the leg side, quite a nice line and length at the moment.
Changing field again, so the deep square drops back. I'll be free bowling to fine leg, and we've got a deep third.
Potts getting closer to the stumps over the wickets. A nice driven straight down the ground, and again this calling is getting louder and louder here.
If I was batting, I would want that loud call as well, as if I've been run out twice in the last 2 games.
So Potts walking back to her mark, ball in hand. So she's only gone for 3 off her 1.3 overs so far, so it's a really good start for the Sparks here. In she comes, nice full delivery, lovely shot from Griffiths. She's challenging the batter. Oh, and Emily Arlett, that was close to the stumps, close to a run out. So just as we thought the calling, when the running was getting better, that was it. Well, it was a quick single, and they were positive and ran that through. And Arlett was disappointed to have narrowly missed the stumps with the throw there from mid-off.
That would have been very close. And of course, we've got no replay in terms of DRS here for this level of cricket, but that would have been close, I think.
Potts to the left-handed Scrivens. She's hit that in the air, she's gone for it, and it's a 6. That's into the stands. That was a big hit there from Scrivens. So just to get off the mark with a pokey single, and then your second shot there to be a 6 right into the stand, the family stand again, as poor Davina Perrin's up again into the stand to get the ball here. She's second, I think it's even gone down the steps all the way through.
Yes,
she's
out
gone
the exit.
Out the exit, all the way back down, and it's going to take us a little while to retrieve this ball, I think, from that lovely 6. And the score is 23 for none, and Griffiths is on 15 of 18 balls, and Scrivens 7 now of her 7 deliveries.
Right, now let's have a little look at what's going on in the other round. So Vipers finished on 126 up at Chesterley Street playing Northern Diamonds, and in reply Northern Diamonds are 26 for no loss at the end of the third. And at Leicester, where Mike Perkins and Hannah Thompson are looking after you on the live stream, Thunder were 152 for 5 and Lightning are 43 for 1 into the 5th.
So Potts looking for a reply here to Scrivens. He's hit that wonderful 6 in the last ball. A little bit fuller. It's a bit of a top edge here, but it's clear. So fine leg is in the boundary. That's gone for, I believe that's gone for 4. Yeah.
Get the confirmation, yeah. 4.
Yes, 4. It's just one bounce 4 over the top, the head of fine leg. And that's a shame for Grace Potts, because she was bowling so nicely. That was a top edge, but I don't think she'd be too disheartened with that. She's gone now for a few more runs than she would have hoped for. But you know, there are chances. The ball, as they say, is in the air.
And I think are we going to see a change of bowling at the top end? It looks like we're going to see a change of bowling.
Looks like Sarah Glenn's got the ball in her hand.
Yeah, she was warming up, so she's busy marshalling the field, moving various folks around. So she's going to be bowling at the right-handed Cordelia Griffith, who is making a mark at the crease, and it is indeed Sarah Glenn coming on from the city end. So the deep fielders are at long on. Who else is going out? Oh, we've got Davina out there, Davina Perrin out there at deep mid wicket. Glenn into Griffiths, so there's an appeal as it thumps into something at our end, but umpire unmoved.
It was a sort of a half appeal, I would say. Then I think if they'd been any more convinced, I think we'd have heard a bigger
bigger shout. Glenn into Griffiths, who prods that to point, and it's picked up there by, is that Hannah Baker there? Yeah. Short point. No run, so score is 27. We're approaching the middle of the 5th over. Sarah Glenn just moving her fielders slightly, so I think square leg going slightly forwards, and Griffiths just pops that forward in front of it. There's no chance of a run there. It goes to point, but there was never going to be a run, and the score remains on 27 for naught. Middle of the 5th over. Cordelia Griffith just takes a second to herself to recompose herself, and then knocks it in front of her, and there's a sort of half a chance that they might go for a run, but there wasn't ever a run there, so they both retreat back to their respective ends. Sarah Glenn in from the top end, and Griffiths just prods that forward down into the ground first, and Griffiths does Glenn does the fielding off her own bowling there, as Griffiths again sort of takes a step back and then comes back in. And Griffiths again trying to get this ball away, trying to force that ball out, and it just goes to point, but there's no run there, so that's 27 for no loss off 5 overs. So 1 over left in this power play. What do you reckon, Sarah? What can they do in this last over?
You don't often see a maiden over in the power play, do you? And that's an excellent over from Sarah Glenn there. And she was just flighting that ball beautifully, and Cordelia Griffiths just couldn't get it away. So I think the run rate currently is at just over 5s, and they need just over 9. They won't be, sorry, just over 8, but they won't be that worried right now. But to say a maiden over in the power play with only 2 fielders outside the ring is great to see from Sarah Glenn there.
Yeah, and she was bowling well against Stars for a 2 for 22 off 4 overs on Wednesday. So, and because she's playing for Worcestershire, it's a pair as opposed to a bear.
Oh yes, she is. I think she originally was in Derbyshire, but fairly recently moved over to Worcestershire. From a family of cricketers over in the Derbyshire, Denbigh area, and so she's played Worcestershire in the county championship, who were successful along with Warwickshire in their groups. As Emily Arlett comes in to bowl at Scrivens, who's hit that away from behind square, and Davina Perry couldn't get round to that, and that's 4 runs through backward square. A lovely shot there from Grace Scrivens.
No risk on the ground, full-blooded.
Yeah, possibly a little bit full first up there from Emery Arlett, probably not finding her length there, and so a lovely shot off the legs from Scrivens there to put another 4 on the score. A bit shorter from Arlett there, and it's clubbed down the ground. Oh, and Grace Potts just got a hand to that, didn't quite make it there, so that's just a single to Scrivens there, just down to mid-on, running back and just almost getting a hand to it, but not quite perhaps finding where that ball was there. And
so close to a catch there.
Yeah, it's a shorter delivery that was from Emily Arlett, and so Scrivens possibly given a half chance there.
Because Emily Arlett, she took a wicket the weekend and 2 catches, so she was involved with the ball.
She comes into right-handed Griffiths. It's a line again, not quite there, but it's an
great
excellent
stop by Abby
there.
Freeborn. Right on the circle, throwing herself to the ground, stopping that ball.
It's a signalled a leg by. A little bit fortunate to not be wide down the leg side, as Griffith got a bit of pad on it there. But yeah, as we said, Freeborn in the ring, diving straight on that ball and stopping it. That could well have gone through to the boundary.
3 balls left in the power play.
As Arlott comes into the left-handed Scrivens, Still over the wicket. Scriven's got hold of that again, and that's another 6, and it's gone out the stadium again. She keeps finding these
Davina
exits.
Perrin.
Yeah, so poor Davina Perrin. She's out of the stadium again, trying to find that ball as it goes through to where, if you're a regular visitor to Edgbaston, that you could go out and buy some food and sort of sit on sort of an artificial beach out there, I feel, for some of the test matches. But it's an excellent 6 again from Scrivens.
We're going to have to ask Davina Perrin to get us some drinks with umbrellas in. She has to go
when she
down
goes
there
back there again. So Arlett's gone for 11 off her first 4 deliveries here. She comes in still over the wicket to the left-hander. Scrivens a bit full of it. It's a lovely shot down the ground. That is a fantastic shot from Grace Scrivens. Her 4 straight through the cover fielder, and it's raced away. It's an excellent cover drive there, and brings the score on to 43 for none.
That was a real no messing. I've seen the ball go fetch this.
We talked about sweet hitting, didn't we? I don't think you've seen a shot hit as sweet as that all day, and that was an excellent shot from Scrivens.
Driven through that gap.
So attacking the crease again here. Nice big bound, short delivery. She's buried out. Is it going to go out? Yes, it's caught. She is caught out by Isabel Wong at fine leg there. So short fine leg. An excellent innings from Scrivens comes to an end there. So she is 26 of 12 balls. So she bowled Emily Arlett and caught Isabel Wong.
After that beautiful shot,
I
then
know.
it was obviously a plan that they sort of somehow they let her get that, and then she hit across that, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, it's sometimes the sort of your eyes light up, don't they, a little bit? She's hit a 6 and a 4, and she's played brilliantly. The over had already gone for, I believe it was 15 at that point, and you could argue, was there any need to do that at that time in the over? But again, she thought it was a short delivery. I'll take it on. So in the power play, there's only 2 outside the ring, but unfortunately it didn't come off, and it just popped up there to Isabel Wong, who was fielding at fine leg.
Yeah, so Central Sparks get a wicket off, their first wicket off the very last ball of that power play. As I just take a look at the other ground, so Chesterley Street, where Jem Green and Robbie James are looking after you on the live stream there. Southern Vipers put 126 on, and Northern Diamonds are 42 without loss. They haven't quite to the end of the power play, they're on 5.2 at the moment. So they need 85 runs off 14.4 overs. Thunder put on 152 for 5 at Leicester, where Mike Perkins and Hannah Thompson are looking after you on the live stream. And Lightning are 58 for 1. They're beyond the power play, they're into the 8th over there at Leicester, so they're getting through their overs there. So Lightning need 95 off 12.5 overs up at Leicester at Grace Road as Glenn comes in to Griffiths and clean bowls her. Two wickets in 2 balls, so both openers gone in 2 balls. Central Sparks are having a party here on the middle of the field as they all come in for a huddle. And it's Griffiths gone as well. No,
I'm not sure whether that was a bottom edge onto her own stumps there, coming out of the crease. I mean, the whole of the last over, Griffiths couldn't get Glenn away, could she? She didn't really have a plan of attack to her, and I think almost looks like she said to myself, I'm going to come down the track and try this, and it didn't come off for her there. And it's so she did try something that new there, but it's just come off the bat and straight. It's bowled by Sarah Glenn.
So first ball beyond the power play. We're Central Sparks have Sunrisers here in the Charlotte Edwards Trophy, which is a T20 competition between the 8 English regions. 43 for 2 are Sunrisers, and it's just the first ball of the 7th over there from Sarah Glenn at the city end, and Naomi Ditani comes in to the crease.
It was Gardner, Joe Gardner.
Oh yeah, sorry, Ditani had already come in, and yes, I beg your pardon. And Gardner to the crease, so the ex-Warwickshire player coming in, just surveying the field before she takes her guard. Glenn short run up, right arm over. Gardner knocks it down on its head almost, gives them all a bit of a headache. There's no run, she just squeezed it out to her toe really. And we were rain on 43 for 2. As planes go over and Glenn comes into Gardner, who pushes that forward, and Glenn has to do the fielding off her own bowling there at short mid-wicket, and they get through for an easy single, which moves the score on to 44 for 2. I wonder where they're flying to. That planes are very loud there.
Well, yeah, we're not far from the airport here, are we? So they may well be coming into land. But I mean, lovely weather in this country, but it's nice now that we can get away and go abroad again, isn't it?
That is nice. So Glenn coming into the left-handed Datani this time. Around the wicket, and Glenn swipes that to backward square, and that gets fielded, and they just get through for the 1 run. So that's Eve Jones out there at square
Campbell,
leg.
isn't it?
Campbell out there at square leg. So Glenn this time into Gardner, who just pushes that forward to long on, and the fielder does the tidying up, and that's just the 1 run. So we're approaching that magic 50, 46 for 2. Last ball of the 7th over here at Edgbaston. Glenn to Datani, who can only defend that down to her toes, and the ball squirts out to Hannah Baker at Glenn, at Gully, and score is 46 for 2 off 7 overs. It's glorious weather here, and you're listening to Claire Jenkins, former Somerset and Derbyshire county player, and Sarah Glenn in charge of junior Warwickshire.
Sarah Ginn, even, not Sarah Glenn.
Sarah Glenn. So look at Sarah Glenn down there. Sarah Ginn. You change your name just so I can get it right.
So Emily Arlett having another over after that last over. She well taking a wicket on the last ball, but going for 15. But say there's 2 new batters now, so she'll fancy her chances against the newcomers to the crease.
Yes.
So Gardner on 2 and Tatani on 1 so far. Again, it's a left-hand, right-hand combination as we've discussed, but we'll see how Arlett deals with this. She rocks back to a mark.
Sun's coming out. Look, we've got shadows here. Look.
Just as they move the field slightly, and Arlett, a little bit of a false start as we're moving the field. I'm not sure who is moving. And in she comes, bowling. Gardner strikes that nicely, just to the cover fielder though for no run.
Gosh, we must be on the flight path this afternoon, because I don't think I remember it being this loud. Beautiful sky. We've got a lovely blue sky. We've got seagulls wheeling around and fluffy blue clouds and very loud planes.
Arlett in again with this really nice action that she's got, repeatable. It's actually short. Oh, that's good. Nip through there. Jo Gardner didn't know much about that at all there, as it went straight through into the hands of Amy Jones behind. Felt like there was an extra little bit of pace on that ball then.
Yeah, it's a bit of something, wasn't it? A bit of lift or something, and
It's a good comeback from Emily Arlett after her first over here. Turns straight back round, comes straight in down the track. Ball a little bit fuller there, and it's turned away off the legs of Jo Gardner for 1 run.
and Abby Freeborn just gets round to square there to send the ball back to Amy Jones.
I wonder how many steps Gwennon Davis is doing today here. She's going from point to point, left hand, right hand. Seems to be field change, and she's been going across each time. But say after those couple of catches she's taken in the last few games, you'd think that she's a valuable fielder at
Jane
point.
Powell described her as the Flying Davis, and she did look like that. I mean, it's right in front of us in the commentary position at Sapphire Gardens. It was a magical catch. If you haven't seen it, catch it on Twitter or something.
So Arlett into the left-handed Datani, hits that away for a single to deep cover. So Isabel Wong round to do the fielding here. Of course, Isabel Wong, a massive Liverpool fan, her and her family. I'm not sure whether she's heading up there tomorrow or not now.
She's after some tickets, isn't she?
Well, yeah, I think she was saying if anyone's got any spare tickets, I'm sure there's probably not many going spare for the fact that Liverpool may well win the league tomorrow. So Arlett comes back in to Gardner. It's a bit fuller. Gardner just plays that into mid-on, where it's a long on, so that's Sarah Glenn. Oh, and racing, Isabel Wong and Sarah Glenn racing towards the ball together there. Neither of them actually really picking it up, but it was just a single there.
We're getting near the 50 now, Sarah, 49.
Yeah. So you need 105 to win here, and 12.1 overs. Arlett goes back to a mark. It's a much better over from Arlott this. It's only gone for 3 so far. Bit fuller. Oh, and it's just played away from Ditani there. Didn't even really get much on there, so that's the pace of the ball being used there as Ditani just sort of works that through the third man area for a boundary. So that's a 4 from Ditani to take Sunrisers to their 50, and it's 53 for 2 off 8 overs.
Yes, that magic milestone, 53.
It's exactly 100 that they trail by now, so it's 101 to win off 12 overs.
So just do a quick route. So Chesterley Street, where Jim and Robbie James are looking after you on the live stream up there. Northern Diamonds need 72 off 12.4 overs, chasing 126. They're on 55 for 1. And at Leicester, where Mike Perkins and Hannah Thompson are looking after you, Lightning needs 79 off 11 overs as Glenn comes in to Gardner, who just prods it down in front of her, but they don't have a run off there. Yes, I was just saying at Leicester at the Upton County Ground, most of us know it's a great road. Thunder got 152, Lightning are at 82-2. Glenn into Gardner, who again can't get the ball away, knocks it out into the offside, but it's cleared up and there is no run. 53 for 2. Glenn into ex-Warwickshire Gardner, who just pushes that forward to long on and jogs through for the single.
She's bowling a nice length here, Sarah Glenn, isn't she? It's tricky to get away, and it's getting a nice bit of turn to it as well. And yeah, they're just struggling to find their scoring options to her at the moment.
Yeah, Glenn and Ditani sweeps backward of square, and that's 4 runs. An easy 4 runs in the end. No danger of the fielders catching that, and the score moves on to 58 for 2.
Commentator's curse again from me there.
Approaching the end of the 9th over, Sarah Glenn with a short run up, spin bowling from the city end, this time to the left-handed Ditani, a bit of gardening and takes a bit of loose debris off the pitch. Takes a stance. She prods that down to backwards square. There's no fielder close in, so they get through for the 1 run easily, and the score moves on to 59 for 2. Ditani on 11 and Gardner on 5. The fielders swap round, as you say. Gwen and Davis strikes me as somebody who wants to be busy, so she's moving around. Glenn and Gardner again just pushes that forward to long on, and they get through for a single. Yeah, it strikes me that Gwen Davis needs to be kept busy and in the game.
Yeah,
so
she likes to be in the game. Of course, she originally started off as a fast bowler, went over to wicket keeping, I think, when she had a spell at Somerset a few years ago, and but equally still very, very good in the field. So likes to be in the game in any way she can, and obviously wasn't needed with the bat today, but she'd be glad to get out there and do a good bit of fielding. And she makes it look easy, doesn't she? She's low to the ground, she gets it in nicely, and she's a very, very good fielder.
She played football as well, didn't she? I think she played.
Yeah, she played football for Wales. She's very competitive. Comes from a very competitive family of say a brother plays cricket and her father played. He was a wicketkeeper for Wales back in the day as well. So he's a dual cap actually. So a Welsh international at both football and cricket.
Great. Oh, I like this end.
Oh, was that down the leg side? Some bat on that. Let's see what the signal's going to be. A leg by. Question between the umpires. Oh, are they saying that she didn't play a shot? Is that?
Decisions.
The umpires are going to have a confirm.
Did she play a shot? That's a good question, actually. I don't know if you got the replay there.
I'm just trying to see. I think a bit too late to watch it here.
She has to have played a shot, so she hasn't. Discussion we're going to have. This is exciting. That's dead ball. So no shot played, presumably.
No, just off.
Has to offer a shot. So there's a discussion now about the interpretation of the laws of cricket and the regulations of the Charlotte Edwards Cup, no doubt.
So Gardner's still on strike there after having judged not to play a shot, and that be a dead ball. So Arlott re-bowling this ball. Coming in. nice and full. Is there an edge there? That's gone. Yes, there's a great edge there from, well, edge from Joe Gardner. Great take from Amy Jones behind the stump, and Emily Arlett gets her second wicket of the day, and that's Gardner gone for 6 off 12 balls.
Wow, that was going at some speed. I mean, it was a sort of always a possible, wasn't it? Because she was getting some lift off that end. And,
yeah, I think that did a little bit more bounce than Gardner was expecting there, and it's just the thin edge through to the keeper. Amy Jones isn't going to miss those. That's her bread and butter there, and she's taking the catch. So Gardner goes for 6. The bowling of Emily Arlett caught behind by Amy Jones, and out to join Datani at the crease is the captain, Kelly Castle.
Right. And meanwhile, at Chesterley Street, Northern Diamonds need 62 off 11.3 overs, chasing 126 that Vipers set them up at Chesterley Street. And Leicester Lightning need 68 runs off 57 balls, with 8 wickets in hand.
So continue with the left-hand, right-hand combination as Datani leans on her bat at the far end here. And Emily Arlett twists the ball in her hand, as is her wont before every delivery. And in she comes to the Kelly Castle, new to the crease. A nice full delivery. Castle just putting the bat on that and defending it and calling no run to her partner.
So Kelly Castle got 75 off 48 balls for Essex against Suffolk, so she's obviously doing all right in the county games, and that's 75. She had 14 fours and a 6, so she'll be wanting to channel that Essex versus Suffolk game with her bat.
As Arlett bounds into the crease here, nice fuller delivery. Don't think Castle knew much about that there, just got a little bit of bat on the way, and that's well bowled. It's a nice Yorker there from Emily Arlett as she strides back to her markers into her third over here, and she's currently gone for 22 runs and taken 2 vital wickets.
Yes, so Sunrisers need 94.
As Arlett comes in, bit of a fuller delivery that's driven nicely by Kelly Castle. It's really well fielded by Amy Campbell there, just for 1 to Castle to get her off the mark.
She'll be glad to get off the mark, because I think they're starting to get a bit frustrated and they're not getting the ball away here at Sunrisers.
Yeah, and Arlett, after that first over that went for 15, obviously there was a wicket in the last ball, but she's now going for a lot less overs, a lot less runs off these next few overs here.
Field going out to Datani. We've got a deep mid-wicket gone out. Hannah Baker's out there.
She's bringing in Freeborn a little bit straighter.
Short third.
So Arlett comes in to Datani. Oh, is that going? No. Ask the question of the umpires, and the umpires have given it not out.
Shake of the head. No. It looked. It was certainly a loud appeal, wasn't it? So,
yeah, definitely hit something. I think Datani might have a bruise to show for that one tomorrow. She rubs her hip a little bit while the batters are talking in the middle of the wicket here.
So, yes, 61 for 3, and at the halfway stage. So 61 for 3. Sunrisers need 93 to win off 10 overs. I think it's going to be a big ask at this stage, but you know, who knows? We shall see how Datani and Castle get themselves established. Datani's in, you feel, but Castle's got to.
Castle's still, relatively new to the crease here.
A bit frustrated by the bowling, which is so we've got a bit of Hannah Baker, I think, the far end. A bit of spin from there, and no, that's easily dealt with into the onside by Castle, who just sweeps that down to square leg, and they get through for a single. I think Castle was just relieved that wasn't pace bowling coming at her.
Yeah.
As Hannah Baker changes her action and decides to go around the wicket to the left-handed Datani, who can only just push that into the onside, and they get through for a run. It was just sort of squeezed out really, but there's an easy run there because there is a pocket without a fielder in, so the score moves on to 63 for 3 into the 11th over, and the field obviously swapped for the left and the right hander as Baker comes in to Castle, who pushes that forward but goes to go for a run, but there is no run there. She walks after the ball after she's prodded it, and I think the bowler getting a bit of a please don't run on the wicket message there. Baker comes in and it's swept and it's going above the head of the fielder. It's into the crowd again. That's a 6 for Castle there, sweeping the ball up over backwards, square leg there. 6 runs into the third row there for a 6, and Sue Redfern just checks the condition of the ball before she hands it back to Hannah Baker, and the score moves on to 69 for 3, approaching the end of the 11th. Baker in to Castle, who pops it into the onside, and Amy Jones has to go and do the fielding from behind the stumps, and they just get through for a quick single.
Yeah, Hannah Baker, of course, only just turned 18, I believe, recently, and studying for her A-levels at the moment. Just so important to keep that work-life balance, isn't it, when you're doing your exams? Yes. I know there may well be people listening here who are studying at the moment, and in the middle of that sort of age,
it's exam season.
Yeah, but
yeah. There was no run off the last ball of the over.
Just taking the time to mix your sport with the game of cricket is great to see from someone like Hannah. Obviously she's playing at a very high level here, and cricket could well now, which is great career for her, which is an option, but just making sure you're doing your studying as well at the same time. And lots of girls and boys at the moment studying for their exams and not perhaps playing at the weekend, or taking that time to just enjoy their sport and take their mind off everything. And it's I do think it's important that these players maintain their work life and studying and playing balance.
Yeah, and let's hope that COVID is going to not play as big a role in their ability to do that, but that balancing the two. And
as Arlett's bowling her last over here, coming into Castle, plays that nicely straight down the ground for no run, straight to Grace Potts at mid-off.
Of course, talking about Hannah Baker from the other end, she took 2 for 19 in her 4 overs versus Stars on Wednesday, so it's a nice bit of spell of bowling for her there.
Yeah, she bowled absolutely beautifully, watching that obviously on the live stream, and she got a lot of reward for a great spell as Arlett comes back into Castle, and in there it's a little bit full, and that's played nicely by Castle. That's a deep cover. Davina Perry fetching that ball from inside the stadium this time and throwing it back into Amy Jones. As the field moves around again to the left-hander. Scores on 71 for 3, Castle's on 10 off 9 deliveries, and Datani 12 off 9.
83 to win here, they need against Central Sparks in this Charlotte Edwards Cup T20 competition.
Zala into the left-handed Datani. A little bit full. It's a nice shot to Datani out to the cover fielder of Hannah Baker there. Just a 1 run to Hannah Baker, throws it nicely on top of the stump straight to Amy Jones.
Nice neat fielding there from Hannah Baker on that boundary, because she's on a bit of a rough patch there, so you're never quite sure what the bouncer is going to do there.
Yeah, it's a boundary, but it's also probably the last wicket on the square here, I would say. Well, there may be a couple more after that, but it looks a well-worn wicket anyway out there.
Used, isn't it?
Yeah. As Arlett comes in to Castle this time, a little bit fuller. Castle just dabs that away to backward point, but there's no run there as Gwennon Davis is sharp off the mark and round to field that ball. Pass around the field to Grace Potts and Eve Jones, the skipper. Charlotte looks to finish this well. She's got 2 balls left of her spell here. Back to her mark. She's in here to Castle. Plays that down. A quick single, well taken, into the ring. How do you think this game is poised at the moment then, Claire? What's your
81
thoughts?
runs to win, isn't it? It's quite a steep ask from 8 overs. 10 over, just over 10 over.
On the fence a little bit there, Claire, as Emily Arlett comes into bowl, the left-handed Datani, who nudges that away to the deep cover fielder of Hannah Baker for a single. And that's so well bowled by Emily Arlott. So it's her 4 overs have gone for 27 and 2 wickets. So she picked up 2 vital early wickets. Then I have to say, starting off going for quite a few runs in her first over. She was hit for a 6 and a 4. She pulled that back nicely, and that's well bowled by Emily Arlott.
Yeah, and it's sort of finally poised. You asked me about, how do I think it's going? I think these two are key, really, Ditani and Castle. They really need to build on this. They've got, as you said, Castle on 11, Ditani on 14. They're chasing this 80 now off these last 8, so literally 10 and over now as Baker comes in.
It's good maths.
I know that's about as good as it gets. So don't ask me any other stats. Baker coming round to Ditani, who just pops that into the onside, and Baker has to do the fielding off her own bowling at point there, at cover there, and they just get through for the 1 run. It's 75 for 3 into the 13th over here as Castle faces Baker. Baker coming in from the far end, and Castle just respectfully knocks that down in front of her, and they don't get a run. It's just straight out to Gwen Davis, who throws the ball underarm back to the bowler, and we're getting through the overs, it feels, quite quickly here with these short run-ups. Baker comes in to Castle, who tries to carve that out through point, and Gwen Davis's eyes lit up at that point, but she didn't get any contact on it. So Baker again into Castle, who takes a step across and plays that backward of square, but they get through for a single.
Yeah, that ball before was either going to be a small nick through to Amy Jones, or a hit to Gwen Davis, and it turned out to be neither.
As we see Baker again coming around the wicket with her spin to the left-handed Ditani. Ditani sweeps that between the fielders. Can they get to that? No. It's going too fast even for Gwen Davis to get that. So that's 4 runs to the total. And they move on to 80 for 3. So they've scored 80, but they need 74 from these remaining 7 overs and 1 ball. So 1 ball left of Hannah Baker's over to Ditani, left-handed, as the sky gets a bit darker, and Ditani sweeps again, and it's going to the same sort of area, but the fielders get round, and
Eve Jones there,
Eve Jones there, yes, so left-handed Eve Jones thrown in there, and just get the 1 run. So we end the 13th over at 81. Sunrisers are 81 for 3 against Central Sparks. Castle's on 12, Ditani on 20. So 7 overs left to get 73 runs then, Sarah.
Yeah, it's a big ask. When it tips over the 10 and over mark, you can't help but think that the Sparks are on top here. However, say these 2 batters still at the crease, and they're getting settled, and you think there could be a little bit of magic here, but you think that the game is probably swinging towards the Sparks at this point.
So up at Chesterley Street, where Jem Green and Robbie Janes are looking after you on the live stream there, Northern Diamonds need 49 off 48 balls, so that's proper close there. Up at Chesterley Street, where Diamonds are chasing Vipers, 126 total. Meanwhile, Lightning need 41 off 38 balls at Leicester.
As Potts comes over the wicket to the left-handed Ditani, who rocks back there and just sort of punches it a little bit towards a point cover area, and Gwen Davis picks it up for no run there. Grace Potts probably similar in stature to Emily Arlott, similar.
Yeah, tall, rangy, aren't
yeah.
they?
So slightly younger and slightly less experienced, but gaining all the time, and she's a bright prospect, is Grace Potts. She in there to Ditani, and that's a wide signal there. Just drifting down a little bit to the left-hander.
Because we've got some staffs players, haven't we? So Grace Potts' staffs, Davina Perrin's staffs, and Steph Butler and Poppy Davis, although they're not playing today, are both staffs as well, aren't they?
Yeah, staffs have got quite a good, for a minor county, they've got a good women's setup there, and some good players coming through from there into the bigger arena as Potts comes in to Ditani, and it's a well bowled dot ball.
It's that sort of wide Yorker, and I saw her struggle a little bit with that at Chelmsford.
Yeah, she tried at the ball before, didn't she?
Yeah.
But that one probably came off a little bit better. And Tatani, not too sure what she to do to that ball really. So it was actually probably worked out quite well for Grace Potts as she comes back in here to bowl at Tatani, who sort of works that through to, I think that's Hannah Baker out there on the cover
Proper
boundary,
thump.
just
Yeah,
for a single into Amy Jones as Gwyneth Davis
does
her.
a lap to the other side for the left and the right hand combination. Yeah, staffs do well, don't they? I mean, but they traditionally have done well with women in terms of strong sides and producing quite a lot of England players.
So
Danny Wyatt
and Georgia
staffs
Elwes are both
Elwes,
staffs, yeah. As Grace Potts comes in for her 4th ball of this over. Nice lean back there. And it's a wicket. It's gone. Kelly Castle trying to, again, these ramp shots, and trying to do these shots today, and it's come off for nobody, I think, so far today. It was a good attempt at something different there, and try and get some runs on the board desperately from Kelly Castle, but it's bowled. She's bowled for 12 of 14 balls, bowled by Grace Potts.
She was trying to use the pace of Potts' deliveries there, wasn't she? And Castles herself, good and proper there.
You have to think at this point in the game that they do need to try something. They need to get see those 10 runs and over, and that perhaps in hindsight wasn't the right option, but she gave it a go, and you can't fault that.
I think it's one of those ones where if it comes off, then you're praised, aren't you? If it doesn't, you're not.
And this brings out Mia Rogers to the crease. Youngster who plays her cricket at Berkshire. Also, I believe is a wicket keeper. Is that correct? Am I?
Yeah, she does. Well,
not today.
According to the research I did, I might not have got that right, but yes, Berkshire definitely.
So Tatani still in, and Rogers being right-handed. We've got that combination to deal with. Yeah, we're talking about Georgia Elwes and Danny Wyatt. Then my first ever game that I coached. When the Wales under-13 girls, we took them to Staffordshire, and we watched Danny Wyatt score just over 100 runs that day. I think she must have been 12 at the time, but it's an excellent display. But your first ever game with your first ever hardball game to face Danny Wyatt and Georgia Elwes was a little bit of a wake-up call for our team.
Yes.
As Grace Potts comes into bowl. That's a quick scamper through for a quick single there.
Yeah, because Wyatt.
Oh, it's gone for a wide, so it's a wide plus the run there.
Yeah, of course, I'm sure that Danny Wyatt and Georgia Elwes think that the highlight of their career was playing in probably my last club game for Mia Heath. But yeah, I played with them, and they were knee high to a stump. But that's how old I am, see. But yeah, both very good juniors, and obviously destined for higher honours, even at that stage.
It's very hard when you come from a smaller county. You often get a few more opportunities, as they probably played in all the age groups in the women's side from very young, whereas perhaps some of them coming from bigger counties don't perhaps get those opportunities in every game. As Potts bowls to Tatani, hits that straight to Eve Jones for no run and into the covers. Nicely fielded by Eve Jones.
Yeah, no run. Yeah, and the staffs, it was a good setup for the women, and the parents were really supportive. There was a whole gaggle of parents who would come and support and drive the players round wherever they needed to go, which is needed.
Potts into Tatani. It's a little bit full, and Tatani's hit that away. It's going to go. Unlucky from Hannah Baker. A dive. Not quite getting a hand on the ball there, and that's gone for 4. So Tatani moves on to 25 there off 18 balls, or 19 balls, sorry. Can't quite read the numbers on the scorecard from over here.
It's slightly blurred from here. As we move, yes, 89 for 4. So they need 65 to win off 6 overs. And there's a bit of a hush descending. There's a sort of what's going to happen next. 6 overs to go. What is going to happen now?
Of course,
Hannah Baker's
still on, but I believe that Sarah Glenn has still got 1 over left, and Isabel Wong has still got 2 overs left. So there's and more
still
to come.
some spin to come. Oh, I thought that was a caught behind then. I think it was bat on ground, wasn't it? And as the ball sailed past Rogers from the spin of Hannah Baker at the top end, city end. It's gone through, it's stumped by Amy Jones. You really don't want to go dancing down the wicket to probably one of the best wicket keepers in the world. And that was stumped there, Rogers, unfortunately, without troubling the scorers. Off Hannah Baker there.
She's got such quick hands there, Amy Jones. Straight in with the dismissal.
Goal coming in next to bat. Let me just go round the other games in the other Group B for the Charlotte Edwards Cup. Diamonds need 42 off 35 balls. Chase Vipers 126, and Robbie James and Jen Breen are looking up after you on the live stream up there. Meanwhile, at Leicester Grace Road, Lightning need 28 off 24 balls with 6 wickets remaining, and Hannah Thompson and Mike Perkins are looking after you there. Meanwhile, back at Edgbaston, where it's starting to get a bit gloomy, the weather. Well, it's still bright. Oh, having said that, the sun's coming out. 89 for 5, and Sunrisers need 65 to win. Hannah Baker still from the city end, as Goal takes her guard. Right-hander by the look of it. So what's Baker got for Goal here from the far end? Tosses it up, and Goal just gets over the top of it, but it just squirts the wicket keeper, and there is no run.
Yeah, Tani does need someone to stay with her here if they've got any chance of getting to this total.
Baker, Goal knocks that into the onside, and impressively really for the last shot, and they get through for a single. I was a bit worried that she might not be getting the timing here, but she just proved me wrong there, just as I was about to say that. So, and then Hannah Baker now coming.
A little bit shorter from Hannah there, wasn't it? So let her find her feet a little bit.
Baker round the wickets, a left-handed Datani, who pops that to long on. I think that's Emily Arlott just tidying up there, and they just get through for a single. The score moves on to 90, and they move towards that magic 91. They move towards that magic 100. 91 for 5. They need 63. Baker into Goal, who sends that to Emily Arlott again. Oh, and takes a spectacular dive at this end, and a slip at this end. On some uneven ground there, Datani. So they just get the single. So 92 for 5, 15 overs gone, 5 overs left to get these 62 balls. What do you reckon?
Well, it is tough, and I think you just look at the spot there. Hannah Baker happily letting that ball go down to long off for those singles, because Sunrisers do need more than singles at this point in the game. And you know, especially with Sarah Glenn coming back onto bowl now as well, it's looking unlikely, but you know, if they can get hold of a couple with the short boundary and they can go after it, then it could be anyone's game. But you really need to see Sunrisers step up a gear now if they're going to get near the Sparks total.
We've got Sarah Glenn taking this end this time, so she's
she bowled beautifully from the other end. She's only gone for 10 of her 3 overs so far, including that maiden that she bowled in the power play.
That may be vital.
So that's into Goal, who's thumped that down the ground to Grace Potts, who's been fielding it long on, just throws it back in for a single.
They need 61 now.
So Glenn coming round the wicket, the field changing for the left-hander. Davina Perrin going back on the square leg boundary. We've got
sweep, and there's a fielder there.
That's Amy Campbell. Didn't pick it up quite cleanly, but still saved the boundary there and puts it back in to the hands of Amy Jones for a single. So Sparks no longer in the power play. Obviously, you've got the 4 outside of the ring. They're protecting both of the boundaries, because that's what Sunrisers need at this point. They do need boundaries. As Glenn bowls to Goal, who steps away, and there's appeal for a stumping.
No,
and it's not given, not out there, but it's again some sharp work from Amy Jones taking. Oh no, has it been given? It has been given.
Yeah.
I didn't see the finger go up there.
No, but the batter is heading off in this direction, so that was Clearly stumped from the far end.
You're trying to look and see if it was caught behind or stumped, because I'm not sure. Let's have a look.
Person was caught behind.
Oh no, do you know what? I think it actually bowled her. It looks like it took the stump. So it didn't need an appeal. It actually just took the top, the left, so the bail just came off there. Just trying to see. I think it was bowled. So that's Goyle gone. Gone for 3.
Yeah.
As the wicketkeeper Scarlett Hughes comes to the crease.
Yeah. Because I should explain that we can't really see that the live stream that we've got is slightly behind time, so we are commentating from the live, and we're a long way from the pitch, and if it was bowled, then that would explain why the square leg umpire wasn't giving it stumped, because it wasn't stumped. So this brings Hughes to the crease, the wicketkeeper, as you say.
And is this a left-hander again?
Ooh, two
left-handers now. Yeah, she's gone down as the scorecard as bowled. Just confirm, goal was bowled for 3 off Sarah Glenn.
Glenn has to do
Quick
a
single there for Hughes.
Singles is not going to be enough for them, is it? They need 59 now.
Both of these players, so Sarah Glenn and Amy Jones, making a massive difference to this side, the Sparks side, coming in for these games. It's excellent to see them with the regional girls here, supporting them and doing so well for their regional side, as that goes down for a single off Sarah Glenn to Grace Potts here at long on.
Yeah, you get the feeling that this is a sort of full strength regional competition now. We've got the England players,
and it's great. It's fantastic to see as Glenn comes round the wicket.
Ooh.
To Hughes, who's taking a big swipe at that.
Unlikely from that angle, I think, coming round the wicket.
It's given not out, and that's a fantastic spell from Sarah Glenn there, as she gets the applause of the smattering in the crowd here, and she goes for, I think it's 2 for 12 off her 4 overs there. It's an excellent spell.
Yeah, she's done all right there, hasn't she? That's and as you say, that wicket, that maiden in the power play will have been invaluable, I think. So Sunrisers need 58 from 4 overs. They're 96 for 6. So they're approaching that magic 100, and we've still got Baker on at the City end, coming round the wicket to Naomi Ditani, who surveys the field. Baker leaps it up, and Ditani can't get the ball away. She pushes it, but straight Davina Perrin at the short cover area, and there is no run. So still 96 for 6. They still need that 58. Baker round the wicket to Ditani, who takes a big sweep, and it's going towards a fielder at the boundary, and it's easily picked up and thrown back in by Eve Jones. Back to Amy Jones behind the stumps, and they just get a single.
Yeah, with the 2 left-handers on strike, you can see on the onside there's almost a line of fielders from sort of backward point. Well,
yeah, we've got a sort of point cordon there.
Yeah, and it's point and cover cordon, and then as first to the onside where they seem to be all on the boundary. So in on one side, on the offside, and out on the onside and the leg side here.
Yeah, Hughes, and she's bowled, and she looks down at the ground, and she's heard the death rattle, but she doesn't know where that ball went. Then
I think that's played on again. Then I'm just
on again. She looks down at the ground, look, as though she can't believe that's happened. So that's Hughes out, and Sunrisers are 97 for 7.
As I said, Ditani's running out of partners slowly here as we head into the 17th over. Yeah, so you still need 57 to win Sunrisers here, and it's with only 3 wickets in hand, it's looking like an increasingly uphill struggle for them.
Yeah, there's a lot of it's a long way to go there with the wickets that they're down, as you say. Ditani desperately needs somebody to stay with her for a bit. Meanwhile, at Chesterley Street, Northern Diamonds need 31 off 20 balls against the Vipers, and at Leicester, Lightning need 8 off 12 balls with 6 wickets remaining. So those are closer games by the look of the numbers, if that gives us any kind of picture of the story that's happening there. So Baker into the new batter, Flo Miller, who just manages to defend that down into slightly into the offside, and Baker does the fielding off her own bowling. There is no run, so 97 for 7, still stuck at that. They need this 57 runs. Baker into Flo Miller, who just pops that to the point fielder, and again there's no run. 97 for 7 still. They need that 57 runs, so Baker, short run up, spinning the ball to Flo Miller, who again can only defend that straight down in front of her, and that's a good over from Hannah Baker there.
Just a nice round of applause from her teammates. Hannah Baker's another excellent spell from the young leg spinner there, and she's gone for just I believe 20 of her 4 overs there, and picked up two wickets, 2 vital wickets again at the point of the game. And yes, she's really coming into her own, Hannah Baker, this season. I feel that the games that she's been playing is that the number one, well, so the leg spinner accompanying Sarah Glenn, and then when Sarah's not here, she'd be the prime leg spinner to come on, and it's great that she's probably learning a lot from Sarah during the net sessions as well. And
that's the beauty of having the England players, you know, really play in this whole competition now, mostly. I mean, I know there's some fair break stuff. So you're listening to Sarah Ginn and Claire Jenkins on the Sparks live stream as Isabel Wong comes on from the pavilion end.
So Wong into Datani now in the 18th over. It's coming fast, it's gone down the ground. It's Grace Potts just narrowly missed that, but luckily Emily Arlett's behind her to do the swooping. Yeah.
Bit of a wild throw.
So gone through for 2 there. So Grace Potts in the ring on mid-off, dived almost over that, unfortunately, but luckily Emily Arlett, he's long on, managed to get round and get to that ball. So Isabel Wong bowling nice and quick today. It's been a slightly off target, but she's at times, but she's gone back for a second spell from the far end as she comes into Datani now. It's a nice full ball, and it goes through. I think they might have got something on there, so they're appealing. It looked like it could have hit something.
There's an appeal. Grace Brambury's
sure.
thinking. No,
I think she hit the ground. I think that's what the sound that we heard.
Sound is probably the bat on the ground.
Of course, Isabel Wong wearing the number 95 on her back. Lightning McQueen from Cars.
Okay.
It's a hint to how fast she perhaps wants to bowl.
Quick to quick.
Yeah.
They still need 55 Sunrisers here in the Charlotte Edwards Cup T20 competition between the English regions.
As Wong storms in here. Lovely action to Tatani. She hits it straight back down the ground for 4. That's a great shot from Naomi Tatani. Not sure whether Wong would have got a hand on that there. It's a little bit over there, but it's hit. It's almost clubbed straight back. It's a beautiful shot for 4 runs for Tatani, and that's 100 up for Sunrisers. They're 103 for 7.
That was some shot to bring the 100 up. Wow, that was a proper belt down the ground, straight back down the ground. I think if I was Isabel Wong, I really would not want to get my hand anywhere near that, because
the hand was waved. I think the ball had already gone at the time.
Naomi Datani really got hold of that one. Proper corker.
Bit of a field change here. Eve Jones coming into mid-off. Isabel Wong comes in again to the left-handed Datani. It's a slower ball, but it's also a wide ball. You could see that come out of her hand slightly slower, but unfortunately it didn't work for her there as it was slightly wide.
Floating, that one, wasn't it?
Isabel Wong quite adept with the slower ball at times. I've seen her bowl 2 or 3 in and over at this point in the game to take wickets, but so that one was slightly off target, but she will get another ball to bowl at the left-handed Tatani to see.
She's changing her angle now.
Yeah, she's coming round the wicket.
Still need 50 runs now.
And she comes. Oh, quicker ball that time, and it's dissected the 2 fields. It's a lovely shot for 4 again, straight between the
fielders there, straight over the hover covers again.
Square leg and mid wicket both on the boundary, but it's dissected them and gone in the middle of them, and the groundsman is busy on duty again to retrieve the ball and throw it back to Davina Perrin. So I don't think Sparks will be too worried by these couple of 4s, but Isabel Wong will be keen to have a reply to those couple of boundaries and see how she can pick up a wicket here as she comes into Tatani. Bowls another slower ball, but that is dispatched, and that's gone into the crowd.
Spectators diving out of the way.
Yes, I think somebody nearly got a hand on the crowd then, and it's gone for 6 over mid-wicket. It's an excellent shot for Ditani there.
Ditani's obviously decided that if I need some help, but maybe I can do it myself here. She heads towards a 50 here, a 45 she's got. And
Yeah.
they need 40 now. Not many balls to do it in. Just the 2.
I wonder if she'll go for the strike at the end of this over now. This is the last ball of the over. Or whether she'll just go for the boundary wicket, we'll see now. As Isabel Wong's coming back over the wicket to Ditani. She's coming in to bowl now. It's a bit of a fuller delivery. Ditani's that hit that. They're running. They're going for the single. They might even come back for 2. They are coming back for 2.
Yeah. I think they feel they got deceived by the spin there.
Yeah,
there's the ball at the floor.
Went through the sort of backward point area, and Ditani picks up 2 to take her on to 47. The score is 116 for 7 off 18 overs. Naomi Ditani batting really well here, especially that last over, going after the bowling of Isabel Wong, and she's on 47 off 30 deliveries, and Flo Miller still yet to score from 3 deliveries.
Yes, so 2 overs, just those 12 balls to get an awful lot of runs here. 38 they need off 12 balls. It's a tough task here, even though Ditani's obviously got the bit between her teeth, and she's got 47, so the first milestone will be, can Naomi Ditani get that 50? She's worked hard today here with the bat, and she's been losing partners at the other end. 2 overs to go, and Grace Potts has decided she wants to come in from the city end this time, and gets to bowl at Miller, as you say, who's yet to score. And meanwhile, Diamonds need 25 off 10 balls up at Chesilly Street. So we need 38 here for Sunrisers against Central Sparks, as Potts comes steaming into Flo Miller, who manages to just knock it forward to point and gets through for a single, and turns as if, should I get a second run, but there wasn't a second run on there.
We've had 3 different bowlers bowl from different ends today, haven't we? So Sarah Glenn finished her spell at this end. Grace Potts started at our end and then is now at the far end, and Isabel Wong has gone the opposite way round.
Yeah, bringing the changes here.
Which is all what it's about, I think, in the T20, isn't it? To keep everybody on their toes, different angles, different boundaries to defend, as the field changes again for the left-handed Ditani here.
Yep.
There's poor...
poised on 47 and they need 37, so Potts into Ditani, who takes a swing and pops it. Oh, that's 4 runs. Back of square, swept.
It's well batted, Naomi Ditani, for her 50.
Is her 50, so well batted. 52 off 31 balls for Naomi Ditani, and it's been a real performance to hold down and keep her concentration as wickets fell the other end, particularly in the middle overs.
Yeah, she's had a good day today, dismissing Isabel Wong early on, and then 50 with the bat. It's been a good day. You just hope now that for her sake her teammates can sort of stay in the other end, and maybe she could just maybe get them over the line here.
Such a tough ask, isn't it? 37 off 11 balls, and there's a bit of a committee meeting as Grace Potts just...
They're not quite sure where to put their fielders here. They've got a deep square, a deep mid-wicket, a long on, and they've got someone out on the cover boundary as well. So that's their 4 outside the ring as Grace Potts comes in to Ditani.
And Ditani, goes past, and I think it's a caught behind, yes. Sue Redfern signals, and Naomi Ditani, and having got her 50, I mean, she's batted so well today. And she rightly gets the applause from the spectators down to our left. That's been a great innings from Naomi Ditani. Left-handed bat, which is desperately what England need, and we've got a lot on display here today. And Naomi Ditani goes off to a rapturous applause for her 51. And it just feels like this is going to be just too far. Having said that, the Sunrisers game went to the last ball, but I think even this is too far back, but we shall see. They need 33.
Yeah, I think Datani had to go for it there, didn't she?
Yeah, she had to go for it.
To try something to get her team over the
Yeah.
line, and fortunately there was just a fine edge through, and say the safe hands of Amy Jones behind the stumps, that's always going to be a wicket there, and it's disappointing for Datani, but she must be pleased with the way that she's performed today.
Yeah, Potts getting a reward from change of ends, as you mentioned, and so this brings speed to the crease.
It's in for the side for Maddie Villiers today.
Yes, Essex player. Right-handed bat, so Potts coming in from the city end to Speed, who takes a step back and lets the ball go through, but she did take a step back, so that's not
looking at the umpire as if she
looking at
wanted
the
the
umpire,
wide,
but
didn't
she did step back first,
Yeah.
so she took herself out of the possible hitting range there, and Potts back to the end of her mark. She's at the fielding restriction ring there as she comes in from the city end, and Speed crouches to take her guard and swings and hits that into the onside straight to the fielder, and they just get the one run.
Yeah, she must be running in from, must be 25 yards, mustn't it, if she's right back on those rings there.
Yeah.
We had an incident at a county game early on in the season where Isabel Wong marked her run up out and then told the groundsman that his discs were in the wrong place, and she was absolutely right.
Right, Potts coming into Miller this time, who again puts the ball in the same place to mid-on. And they get through another single.
Isabel Wong knew her run-up was, I think it was 21 metres or 22 metres,
Yeah,
and then
so
she knew that there was a certain space between her and the discs, and it wasn't there. So yeah, when the groundsman remeasured, they were in the wrong place, and she was absolutely correct. So
I bet they were really pleased that she pointed it out.
yeah.
So Sunrisers, they need 31 from this last over. 123 for 8.
Yeah,
31 off 6 balls.
Two new
of
batters
Isabel
at the
Wong bowling. I think it's unlikely.
It's very unlikely, but as we've said earlier, the faster it comes onto the bat, the potentially faster it will go. But we'd say two young, probably relatively inexperienced batters at the crease, and Isabel Wong steaming in from the other end when you need 31 to win off the last over.
And
it's
a steep ask up at Chesterley Street as well. The Diamonds need 15 off 3 balls, facing Vipers 126. So they need 31 here.
Into Miller. First ball of the last over. Oh, she hits her on the pads, and they're running through for a leg bye.
That's a leg bye, yeah. Possibly a bruise for the batter there.
Yeah. Can't help but think if she'd left that, it might have been a wide down the leg side.
She sort of went with it and
walked into
padded
it.
Walked into it, as you say. They need 30 runs here.
Off 5 balls.
5 balls.
Can theoretically be done. It's Wong into Speed. Slower ball.
Ooh,
Speed hits that nicely down to long on, but it's a couple of bounces down to Grace Potts, who just easily picks that up and passes that back.
Yeah, 29 to win. 125 for 8. Last over, Isabel Wong.
4 balls remaining.
Can she skittle these last few batters out?
Wong into Miller. Another slower ball.
Ooh, it's going to the boundary. Grace Potts is down here.
Potts is down nicely.
Good fielding, takes a bit of turf
just the
off.
one.
Good fielding there from Grace Potts.
Isabel Wong putting her slower balls in again. That was a lot more of a successful one than we saw earlier on. But still, it went for 1 run. It brings Speed back on strike with 3 balls remaining.
28 needed.
28 to win. It's a shorter ball. Played nicely by Speed into Davina Perrin in the covers for 1 run. Sparks won't be worried about that going for a single at this point in the game.
Looks like Sparks heading for another win here.
It's a great start to their campaign with 3 from 3.
3 from 3, it's always a good start, isn't it?
This competition, of course, into 2 groups and then into a final stage before we start with the 50 overs later in the season.
Natural hey-ho for that one.
It's Isabel Wong into Miller. Slower ball again. It sneaks through. It's a dot ball there. And just one ball remaining. And yes, 27 to win, but I think that's probably quite immaterial now. As a slow hand clap starts from the crowd.
I don't know quite what to make of that. Last ball, okay. Winding Wong up, perhaps.
In to Miller, another slow ball. It's a full toss, and it's hit Hannah Baker nicely round, really well fielded. She gets an enormous cheer from the crowd as Miller comes through for two, but it's not enough, and Central Sparks have won this game. Score at the end of the game, 129 for 8 to the Sunrisers, and so it's a third win out of 3 for Central Sparks.
Yeah, that 27 off one ball was too much to do, wasn't it? So he just run you through the batting card there. So in terms of, I'll wait till the PA is finished. Okay, so Sunrisers batting cards. Cordelia Griffith was bowled by Glenn for 15. Grace Scrivens was caught. Wong bowled Arlott for 26. Naomi Ditani worked hard this afternoon for her 51 off only 32 balls, but was caught behind by Amy Jones from Potts. Gardner was caught. Amy Jones again bowled Arlott for 6 runs. Kelly Castle was bowled Potts for 12 runs. Rogers went without scoring, stumped Jones off Baker. Goal got 3 runs, was bowled by Glenn. Scarlett Hughes was bowled by Baker for 1. Miller and Speed were both not out. Miller was not out 5 and Speed was not out 3. In terms of the bowling, Isabel Wong got 1 wicket. Where am I going? No wickets. Went for 37 runs. Grace Potts took 2 wickets off her 4 overs for 29 runs. Sarah Glenn also took 2 wickets off her 4 and went for 14 runs. Emily Arlott also 2 wickets for 27 runs, and Hannah Baker also 2 wickets off 20 runs. So they've spread them around quite neatly there, haven't they?
Yeah, it's nice to see everybody chipping in. So there's a great spell, obviously, from Sarah Glenn there to sort of lead the way, if you like. But youngster Grace Potts taking a couple of wickets, Emily Arlott taking a couple, and Isabel Wong, although she didn't take wickets, she did look dangerous at times today. And it's a good all-round performance from the Sparks. I think Sunrisers must be, though, ruin those drop catches in their fielding innings.
Yeah, there was yeah, that's right. There was a lot of drops, wasn't there? And I think kind of comprehensive in the end to win by 25 runs there. So yes, let's have a little look what we got here for you. So let's have a look at this. So what's your kind of impressions then, Sarah, of the game?
I think Sparks went off nice.